still in hip-hop science fiction before Spooky fell down, it wouldn't sell well. I knew that would happen. It wasn't a prediction. For me, space and time travel is non-fiction. The point is I'm not fighting. The trucker is original. My planet rocks for millions of united individuals. I deliver creams and soaps to cure pimples. I deliver things that make your life simple. My 18-wheel rig flies through the galaxy, but never seems to open your eyes. I wonder why deliveries take place on time. It's 'cause the trucker has complete control of space and time. That's how everybody lives now. Gives back to the community. My town gives to the kids now. Just let me fix some things to save the continuity. Ring, represent blue screen. Represent unseen. Represent my team. Represent. I represent martinis, Rick on ice. The tiniest zucchini, meaning you should see me in tights. And that might sound familiar, but it's not what it seems. You see, saying that makes me bite him when he enters my dreams. But I only catch winks 7 hours a week. Gives me the power to freak out with flowers that speak. I'm referencing the Scarecrow and the Wizard of Oz. My style's a blizzard of flaws, but it still gets applause on the daily. They blame me, trying to defame me. I'll just have to sample any sucker doesn't pay me. I'll take your beats, I'll take your likeness and your attitude. Maybe then you won't pretend that you could be the better dude. In the Northwest, there can only be one Slow T. Arrived in Ellensburg, straight from the sun. In an 18-wheel Astro rig trip to the maximum. Is he the favorite rapper? Yo, I was never asking him. Rain, represent blue screen. Represent unseen. Represent my team. Represent fifth ring. Represent blue screen. Represent unseen. Represent my team. Represent. You represent the spaceship shit, or you ain't down with LOG. You might call it fantasy, to me it's just psychology. A new philosophy of how we should live. I bring it back from the future, I don't sell it, I give away ancient Chinese secrets of the 17th millennium. When you have mutant powers, you don't need a condominium. When you can take your words and erase the day. No, you don't really need to have a place to stay. I cannot eat food and not waste away. I cannot drink water and still grace the playground. With my presence, people flip when I say nouns. With the essence come together and stay sound. My effervescence is the coolest display. Pound into your flesh, it is the easiest way to break the spell. First is what you should say. No one here chanting elevated grounds today. Represent blue screen. Represent unseen. Represent my team. Represent fifth ring. Represent blue screen. Represent unseen. Represent my team. Represent.
Hello, world. It is I, Tom. Sometimes known as the spaceship trucker. And today we're going to fulfill an old promise to the Fodeuss gang. What's up, Matty O'Shea? It's going to be weird. It's going to be weird for spaceship trucker regulars. I'm going to nerd out over my fantasy baseball draft. On YouTube, I've already broken down the first 14 rounds. So if you go to my YouTube channel, which is Slow T, here I'll type it in the chat. You can... Baseball is getting over. This is the last weekend of the regular season. but our draft is a little bit different. So the way the draft works is we can draft any player from baseball history, and you get one season, one season of that player. But if you draft that player, nobody else can draft them and pick a different season or anything like that. So then after we assemble our whole teams, it takes months because especially this year we have 16 people doing it. And then after you assemble your team of all these, greats of baseball history, basically, we simulate an entire season in out of the park baseball, which is what we're looking at here. That's the game. So we're just going to go through the players that people have drafted, starting with round 15. I've imported all the way up through round 22. So that's as far as I'm hoping to get today. Would be 8 rounds if we could get through 8, because I was only doing 2 at a time and it was taking like an hour. So if we do 8 rounds, it might take 4 hours. And that's my limit for the stream. But everything sounding okay. I could put on some tunes. Could put on some Log Hog beats. It seems like it might be nice to have some background music going, just really quietly. Let me do this. Sorry for the man behind the curtain here. Okay, it's loading. There's the instrumentals. Sick. Okay, we got a little bit of music here. How loud? How loud should I have it, though? Too loud. It's so finicky. I wonder if that's too loud still. How's it sound? Well, these are all original beats that I made, so I think we're good. Okay. Oh, what's up, Sean? Welcome in. So anyway, getting started here with round 15 of the Fodeuss draft. We have Jedi Marine selecting Lou Brock. And Jedi Marine hasn't been picking the season, so I picked the 1968 Lou Brock here. We can see he's looking pretty good. He's got really good contact numbers, like that's awesome. He's just not going to hit for much power, but of course Lou Brock's, mostly known for his speed, and that looks amazing. Like he's going to be an amazing leadoff guy. I got the scrawny legs, but I move just like Lou Brock. A very famous Tribe Called Quest lyric. And his defense isn't looking that good, but it's, adequate. Left field, you can kind of hide somebody. That's not your most important defensive position, and nothing is like in the red or anything. So only thing in the red is he doesn't like to sacrifice bunt, which is fine. You're not going to want him to do that if he's right at the top of your order anyway, probably. So let's move along to the next person. Ryan Presley. I think a relief pitcher, I believe, from 2021, selected by Sith Overlord. So you can see we have in here 421 players now, so we're getting pretty deep into the draft. I spent about 3 hours importing all the guys that I needed to import in order to do this stream, so there was a lot of prep work for this. And Ryan Presley looking really solid here. Just everything pretty up high in the green. Of course, you only get this 25 stamina, which, is a problem that I like to harp on with these relief pitchers, but you're probably not going to want him to throw more than 1 inning at a time, so I think Ryan Presley's a really good pick. Looking really good. Not much more to say about him, though. We got a lot to get through. Next, we got Babe Herman, drafted by Dark Lord of the Empire, and I've had Babe Herman on my team a few times. Great character of the game, and that 1930 season he hit, I believe, 390. So, 1930 is a weird season, though, because like the offense was just off the charts. I think it was the highest run production environment in the history of baseball was 1930. So the you know, since it's comparing guys to their league and the season that they were in, like, he's getting punished for that a little bit. But I mean, you can see the offensive numbers still look awesome though. And I believe Babe Herman is kind of known as a bad defender, so it makes sense that his defense doesn't look that great. I know there are some seasons where he also has availability at first base. I think you can kind of get away with that with outfielders sometimes anyway. It's just like hide him at first base. Of course, we have a DH too, so Babe would make a great DH, I think. But yeah, great pick. Just a fun, fun character of the game. He came back after after he retired during World War II when they needed players because all the players had, got drafted. Babe Herman came back like in his 40s, I think, and like played one season. Yeah, Ted Williams, of course. So if you go back to the YouTube videos, the first video I go over all the keepers because it's a keeper league. Where you can keep 3 players keep 3 players going into the next season, and then you can use a few mechanisms like spending. We have like fake money in the game, and like you can forfeit some draft picks in order to keep more players. So I ended up keeping, I think, 5 guys by spending some money and forfeiting some draft picks. But the guy who has Lloyd Christmas, who has Ted Williams on his team, he kept him, obviously. So Ted Williams wasn't really available to draft. But we can look at his stats really quick in the game, so you can see exactly how awesome he looks. There he is. Fucking Ted Williams, man. He's like he's gonna be one of the best hitters every year in the game. As he should be. He's one of the best hitters, possibly the best hitter to ever live, actually. I think Ted Williams is definitely in that argument. I think most people probably would leave him out of the best player to ever live argument, just because his defense was known to be something he didn't really care very much about, and he was just kind of a one-dimensional player, but that's kind of like Steph Curry. Like Steph Curry is definitely the best shooter of all time, but most people wouldn't say he's the best player of all time because there is defense, there's other aspects of the game, and so you'd probably go with somebody who's a little bit more all around, like a Michael Jordan or whatever. Okay, anyway, I went off on a tangent. We're looking at Ted Williams. We got to keep this moving. Okay, next we have Autumn with Dale Murphy, which I wasn't surprised to see. Autumn is a Braves fan. And Dale Murphy, of course, a legendary Atlanta Brave. Oh, look at Van Mungo. We'll get to look at him later if we make it that far. It'll be towards the end. Okay, Dale Murphy. The contact, like, he's gonna strike out a bunch probably, but he's got this really good power and really good defense in left field too. So an all-around good pick, I think. It just gets a little tough when Dion and Bo, they'll get drafted probably by maybe somebody has Dion already as one of their, because you get kind of one fun keeper pick that you don't have to use one of your keeper slots for. I don't know, maybe Dion's too good to be a fun keeper though. My fun keeper is my uncle, my great uncle Weezer. Weezer Dell. But Dale Murphy, sorry, got sidetracked again. He's looking good. I like the defense, and he's got really good speed too. So he's got a balanced game. Oh yeah, what I was gonna say is just like when you're going against the greatest pitchers of all time in every game, pretty much, this number might come back to bite you a little bit. That's all. Let's see. Next we got, with the 5th pick of round 15, we've got Tunes with Max Muncy. And Tunes has been just drafting his favorite players. He's a Dodgers guy. Max Muncy not looking amazing, but oh yeah, Roger Clemens. Nobody kept him, but he got drafted in the early rounds for sure. Yeah, since we're kicking this video off with round 15, like most of the legends are already drafted. But yeah, Rivera's gone. I could show you their stats though, you know, or you could go back and watch however many hours. Well, I guess it averaged out to about an hour for every 2 rounds. So that would be 7 hours of YouTube content. Anyway, Max Muncy, probably not going to be a starter. Just a fun guy for Toons to have on his team, I think. He expects to be a bench player, and I think that's where he'll slot. He does have a really good eye and decent power, so he's got some things working for him, at least. Yak drafting Barry Larkin here, and I gotta say, Barry Larkin was on my list of shortstops, and I was really surprised to see him last all the way until round 15. But really good pickup by Yak here, I think, in round 15. Look at the numbers. I mean, really good defense at short, which you absolutely need. Like, shortstop is probably your most... Shortstop and catcher, probably your most important defensive positions. And really good offense for a shortstop, too. Just like, so he's got the complete balance to his game. And amazing speed as well. So yeah, this guy should have gone way earlier, I think. And this is a steal to get Barry Larkin in the 15th round of the draft, for sure. All right, let's look at the next guy. Kevin Kiermaier, Minnesota, just going for some defensive, like a late inning defensive replacement, I think. Yeah, second base as well. That's probably third most important, and then maybe center field after that. I would say. Kiermaier, here he is. So yeah, the offensive numbers aren't amazing, but he can come in, he can pinch run and be a defensive replacement late in the game. He's got this incredible defense. So one of the better defensive center fielders probably that you can get. He might make a few errors, but his range and his arm are going to be really important out there. Especially depending on another thing in this game, Maddie, is that you can pick whichever stadium you want to play in, and that actually does factor in into how the games will play out. So if you have a really big ballpark, you're going to want to have really fast, rangy outfielders. And just, there's a lot of strategy and stuff actually to think about. What a weird track this is. I'm gonna skip this track. I feel like the music is just kind of... I guess not. It sounded kind of distorted there for a minute. Oh my god. AZ Axel. Is that Arizona Axel? Wow, we got a huge raid. Wow, thank you so much for the raid. Yeah, welcome in Out of the Park fans. I mean, this is a pretty niche stream. I'm gonna tell you, you rated a pretty niche stream. Like, what I'm doing right here is I'm breaking down my fantasy baseball draft. We do a fantasy baseball draft every year where we can draft any player in the history of baseball, and then this year we have 16 people playing. And so, and you get only one season of theirs, of course, but then nobody else can draft that player after you pick them. And we're into like round 15 of the draft right now. I'm just going through each player and we're looking at their out of the park ratings. I'm not the person who's like the commissioner of the game, so I'm just using my version of out of the park to see what my scouts are saying about this. But I know that his import settings are different and stuff, so we're not getting real super accurate scouts, but we're just kind of looking at who I've been scouting and why I didn't pick certain people, why I did pick certain people. But yeah, it's just kind of a fun thing. Okay, Kev, we'll restart. We'll restart when you get here. That sounds like a fun trade. But yeah, thank you so much for the huge raid. I was not expecting that. I haven't streamed in like 9 months, and I had been promising a video like this to the other people in the draft, and so I was like, well, let's just live stream it on Saturday, because I'm so far behind on it. I'm just trying to get through as many rounds as I can. But yeah, I really appreciate it, and let's keep it going. We just looked at Kevin Kiermaier, who was selected with the 7th pick of round 15. Yeah, you did. All right, so the next pick was actually 2020 Juan Soto, picked by RX Sith. Oh, by the way, a lot of the usernames of the people in the draft are Star Warsy. It's because this whole thing takes place on a Star Wars message board. That's where it's all organized, and there's just one thread where it's the draft thread, and it takes forever because like everybody has 24 hours to make their pick. So this draft has been going on for almost 3 months. We're now in round 27 of 32 rounds. Okay, Juan Soto, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. And yeah, you can see how many players are already in this player pool. Okay, there's Juan Soto. And yeah, it's interesting with the 2020 seasons. I think because of the small sample size, you get sort of a weird defensive rating. But his offensive numbers still look awesome. So he's not being punished too much for the small sample. Like they're extrapolating it over a full season. But I do think you get some weird scouting reports with the 2020 seasons. But we're kind of at the point in the draft now where it's like, why not take a swing for something like this? There's a few more 2020 seasons that get picked a little later, I think. And but yeah, Juan Soto looking really good. Of course, he's got the amazing eye with the potential to just be like off the charts with the eye, and good contact numbers, solid power, like just an all-around good offensive player. But it just looks like from here, like, I mean, the ratings aren't terrible, but you're probably not going to want to use him in the outfield. And I don't know. You could kind of hide him in left, maybe. He does have the potential to be decent. Next, we got Cubby, who, surprise, is a big Cubs fan. And he actually, I think he took Tinker, Evers, and Chance. But this next pick in round 15 is Joe Tinker. And he didn't pick a season, so I just probably, usually if the person hasn't picked their year yet, because you don't have to pick your year until right before the season starts, after the draft's over. If they didn't pick a year, I just kind of went with the highest OPS plus season usually. But Joe Tinker looking really good, especially as a defensive shortstop. I mean, actually an amazing pick. Even if you're just going for like the very famous Cubs double play combination. Yeah, great shortstop. A lot of the like old-timey shortstops from like the 1900s and like the 1890s, guys like George Davis and Bill Dolan, really are really good and out of the park. No, it's me, Bailey. I'm kind of, I guess I'm a returning streamer. I streamed like starting in 2020 when so many people started streaming, and I was pretty consistent until about 9 months ago, and I haven't streamed since in 9 months. But welcome in. Oh wow, thank you for the follow, Axel. And yeah, so Joe Tinker looking really good. Sorry. I've done these videos before, like these breakdowns, but I've never done it live. So I'm like, the chat interaction is something I'm gonna have to get used to, and not getting completely sidetracked and forgetting what I was talking about. But also just the great speed stats. That's the other thing you get from those 1880s and like into the 1900s guys. Like, just insane. Oh yeah, Family Feud action. We're gonna have to bring it back. We should start doing it on Fridays again, even if we just do it for a couple hours. I feel like we used to like play 3 games of Family Feud, and that would take 2 hours, and that was like a perfect stream. I'll definitely bring that back. And then Sean, with the 10th pick here in round 15, took David Price. Looks like 2014 David Price. So let's find him. I feel like David Price always looks pretty... Oh, I don't have David Price? It looks like I neglected to import David Price. So let's do that really quick. Sorry, guys. Not the first time that I've accidentally skipped a guy. So yeah, like these settings I think are slightly different in the commissioner's version of the game. And the commissioner never actually takes part in the draft. He just runs everything. He puts a ton of work into it. He does like Sports Center type breakdowns after each week of games and stuff. Like, It's super fun, and he just likes doing it. And like that, like we've offered to let him have a team. We trust him to be honest about it, but he's like, nah. So here's David Price. He's got the really good control. His pitches are all decent, but like no overwhelming pitches, at least according to my scouts. And the stuff is a little down. But I know that like pitchers in particular, my scouts tend to be a little bit harsher, I think, than the commissioners. Like, just the overall ceiling of guys seems to be kind of low when we're looking at my numbers. But yeah, he's going to be really good at holding runners, good stamina for a 2014 guy, and, you know, good enough defense. You're not too worried about that. But the control and the movement are probably good enough to have the, you know, this guy could have a pretty good role on your team. Might be a guy you want to use out of the bullpen, I would think. But let's keep it rolling. Manny Ramirez. The next pick. Manny Ramirez lasted till round 15. Well, you know, I think some people have been shying away from the steroids guys a little bit, but Manny Ramirez, a really great pick to get this late in the draft. Yeah, Manny was awesome at his peak. Just an incredible offensive force. He's got the insane BABIP, but he is going to strike out some, so those numbers are going to kind of balance out into this overall contact number, I guess. So you are going to be worried about some Ks, but a great power and eye, and just the insane BABIP. And, you know, not the worst defense as a corner outfielder. I feel like you could stick him out there, or you could use him as your DH. We do have the DH in our league, if anybody was wondering. All right, next we have the 12th pick of round 15. It is Pointy with Goose Gossage. 1981 Goose Gossage. And one thing I've talked about a lot in the past is like, you know, the bullpen. There is different bullpen philosophies. I mean, if we've got some out of the park fans in here, I would be curious to hear how they go about it. But I usually only like to use starters, like, because they just have the better stamina, and I feel like your bullpen just gets worn out if you have only guys with 25 stamina in there. So my bullpen is made up of starters that I plan on converting into relievers. But, you know, most people are going the other way and drafting an actual bullpen. And that's what Pointy's doing here with Goose Gossage. And just the 4 crazy pitches. Yeah, but I'm even going for, like, my short relief guys. Like, my closer is going to be Dazzy Vance, which the 2 seasons ago, I had super great success with that. Like, he was awesome as a closer. And then, like, my setup guys are going to be, like, Nolan Ryan and Noodles Hahn. So, and I do have one bullpen arm that I'm going to use, which is Andrew Miller, just as a guy to get lefties out. But this is, yeah, my philosophy on this kind of, you know, when everybody's historical great. Like, if we were drafting only players from one season, I think you'd have to get bullpen guys. But since you can get these insane starting pitchers and have 10 of those guys, you could use 5 of them as relievers, and it works out pretty well, at least in my experience so far. Yeah. Oh, the other thing I really like about that is if one of your starters gets hurt, because we do play with injuries on and stuff. So if one of your starters goes down, you have, like, these guys that are already in the pen that can slot right into that role. Like, I've got Jesse Tannehill as my long reliever, and if one of my starters gets hurt, I can just slot him in and then call somebody up from the minors to take his spot, because we do have 40-man rosters, so you have some guys in the minors that you can call up and option up. Anyway, yeah, Goose Gossage looks awesome, just the crazy stuff. And the control might be a little bit of a problem, but we haven't seen, you know, a lot of the historical great hitters that we're using don't actually have the best eye, so they're just really good at hitting the ball. Okay, now let's keep it going. Another bullpen arm taken here. It's amazing with Brad Lidge from 2004. And Brad Lidge, looking like even better than Goose Gossage, like the 90 stuff. That's crazy. I was actually, I remember when I first imported this one, I was kind of shocked that it was that good. But I mean, I don't know that it looks like this in the Commissioner's game. So, but and then again, the control is a bit of an issue here. And also the BABIP allowed, but if he's striking out this many guys, maybe that won't come into play too much. It's just, yeah. If you can get it in play, you might get a hit against this guy. It seems like, but that'll just be hard to do. But yeah, Brad Lidge. And then it was my turn here with the 14th pick of round 15. And I took Jim O'Rourke from 1884. Orator Jim. And here he is. He's looking pretty insane. The only thing is, I guess I'm going to use him as my backup catcher. He has pretty bad defense everywhere, and the catcher defensive ratings aren't amazing. But, like, with historical players, like, finding a catcher that could hit like this is, like, super rare. It's, you know, kind of insane. So you're, like, you're walking that line because your catcher defense is really important. But if you can, you know, have this kind of offense and this actually works out for me, then it might balance it out just enough. And I do have Bill Dickey as the number one catcher. I was thinking maybe a straight platoon even, you know, with, you know, so they can, because I do think it's important to keep your catchers well rested. So if we did a platoon of Dickey versus righties and O'Rourke versus lefties, that could work out really well. But yeah, Orator Jim. Spoiler alert, if nobody else takes his brother, I'm going to take him in the late rounds. John O'Rourke had a really short career, but he had at least one really good season. And I've imported it into I have a different save where I have all the guys that I've just been scouting. And it's got hundreds of guys. And his brother looked pretty good. So somebody else, if anybody else from the draft is watching this, please sign up for a Twitch account and tell me. So I don't give away my strategy. All right. Next was Lloyd with Jack Matchett, who I believe was a historical black baseball player. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. So that's the thing. I can pull him over here so we can see what he looks like. But we don't have. What year did he pick? Did he pick a year? I don't have, no year. I don't have the ability to import these guys, but the commissioner has a secret sauce how he does it. So you can get the scouting reports using $1 of your fake money and see what these guys look like in his imports, which is always a good idea to do anyway, even if you have your own version of the game, because it's going to look different. And it's not always super predictable how different, you know, how it looks different. But, looks like probably this 1944 season, I'm guessing. Looks like the one. 0 home runs allowed. I don't know, yeah. But yeah, Lloyd Christmas, who made this pick, has been drafting a lot of these historical black pitchers. And you know that he's getting those scouting reports, so they probably look really good. I just don't have any money for scouting reports, so I haven't been able to go that route. But let's keep going here to the next one. We just unfortunately kind of have to skip over those guys, but we always look at their stats at least. But next is Heels with Kurt Schilling. Wow. I mean, you can understand why this guy would last until round 15, the very last pick of round 15, because pretty controversial figure, but a good pitcher, so. And the numbers do look really good. Yeah, great stuff, great control. Just the movement isn't elite, but it's good enough, I would say. And the pitches, like the splitter, he's got at least one elite pitch, which I always like to see on guys that I'm going to pick. And everything else is in the green or turquoise. Uh-huh. Great pitcher, not a great person, yeah. Exactly. Kind of a bummer of a dude. Yeah, he probably should be in the Hall of Fame. There are other bummer dudes in the Hall of Fame. That shouldn't be the thing that keeps you out if it hasn't for other guys. David Cohn might still be available in this draft, yeah. We have had some 90s starters go lately, like Kevin Napier got picked pretty recently. But I think David Cohn is still on the board. Okay, let's look. We're going into round 16. I think I'll try to take a break every other round. So we'll go through one more round here, take a quick break, and then keep it going. All right, heels with Nolan Arenado 2019. So let's look at Arenado. Got to go all the way up to the top, into the A's. And really good defense at third. I think that's key to Arenado. I don't know if there's other years that you might look at for the offense. I feel like his defense is going to be consistently good. You might even find better years for the defense. But he's got the power, and he's got really good avoid Ks, which is nice. That's one of my priorities when I'm looking at hitters. I don't want them to strike out a lot, and I know they're going to be facing really tough pitching, so I do think that's important. The BABIP number's all right. The gap power you can live without because he's got the good eye, good power. Yeah, I think Arenado is a great pick, actually. And Arenado also, like, one thing where we base, you can't help but base your picks on after a while. It's since we've been doing, like, the first 3 years we did this draft, we simulated the games in this thing on this online system called What If Sports. But for the last 4 years, we've moved over to Out of the Park. And so you kind of have, like, can't help but base some of your picks on the past performance in the league, and Arenado is a guy that's done really well in our draft. So good pick by Heels. And then Lloyd picked another historical black pitcher, Harry Salmon. I'm just gonna look him up really quick. Let's see what kind of numbers he put up. Oh, and he picked a year, 1927. Okay. So 27, Harry Salmon. 15-6. Oh, he pitched 177 innings, which is rare for these guys. 15-6 with a 2.94 ERA. They don't have the home runs allowed number for 27, so it's like not giving him a FIP. But I mean, like I said before, he got the scouting report. He saw what the actual commissioner's report looked like, and he pulled the trigger on picking him, so you can bet he's going to be good. And then next we have, me again. I wanted to pick back-to-back orators, so I picked Orator Schaefer from 1884. I've been loading up on these 1800s guys. They always just look insane. But here's Orator Schaefer. He just doesn't hit for power, but like his speed, his contact, and his crazy defense in right field. And this guy's actually going to start in the minors for me because I picked 1944 or 45. I can't remember which one, but Tommy Holmes, who had a crazy season during the World War II seasons when a lot of the good players weren't around. He had he couldn't join the military because there was something wrong with his arm from when he broke his arm when he was a kid, and they didn't know it was broken and it never healed right. But he could still hit like a motherfucker, and he had the only time, I think, in Major League history where somebody led the league in the most home runs and the fewest strikeouts in the same season. And I think he led the National League with 25 home runs, so it wasn't a huge number, but he only struck out 9 times, which is just crazy. So he's going to be the starter, but he did sort of bad in the league last year. Somebody drafted him last year, wasn't me. And they didn't stick with him for very long, but I could kind of see why, because he had like a negative WAR. So I drafted Orator Schaefer as my backup plan in case Tommy Holmes is not good, because Tommy Holmes only had like a 55 defense or something. And if I'm gonna replace him, like, this guy might not hit either, but at least he'll give me good defense out there. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully Tommy will rake. And then Amazing with Charlie Blackwell from 1921, another historical black player. His numbers were insane in 1921, and he did have a really good year. I think it was 2 years ago for Amazing, and then he ended up keeping him last year, and he kind of struggled. So it can be inconsistent from season to season. Like you're not just drafting all the guys that were great last season. Oh, that's the other thing is we move every year we do the draft, we move the season that we're playing in to a different era. So this year we're going to be playing in like the 1980s. And so that the run environment of the year that you're playing in also can totally affect and change things as well. Oh yeah, Greg Maddox was somebody's keeper. Actually, Cubman. Nobody else will ever have Greg Maddox. He's been a keeper on Cubman's team for years, and he is really good in the game. Chevy is mad because he thinks someone laced his fentanyl with cocaine. Well, thanks for the update, Kev, because I was really wondering if Chevy Chase was still alive. 1921, Charlie Blackwell hit 405 with an 1148 OPS and a 222 OPS plus. Just crazy. But the thing about Charlie Blackwell is, like, actually, I was going to draft him, and I did get the scouting report from the commissioner, and then it didn't look very good. So I went with Tommy Holmes instead. Because that was my first pick for my right fielder was Charlie Blackwell. But I wanted to make sure, since I can't get him into my scouts, I wanted to make sure he looked all right, and then he didn't look that good. But hopefully he'll defy the odds. Oh, you're going to the final game tomorrow, Phoenix? Welcome in, by the way, Phoenix. Good to see you. That's awesome. I went to one Mariners game this year, and it was really fun. We got to see them kick the Mets' ass. Sorry, Maddie. But we won the game like 12-1 or something, and it was just a super fun time. I'd like to go to another one. We went to one this year and one last year, and yeah, I'd like to at least keep going to one a year, at least. The Mariners are also out. Oh, got tickets in the last minute. I've never been to Fenway Park. I have been to Wrigley Field, but I've never been to Fenway, and that's definitely like a bucket list thing for me. I gotta go. Oh, speaking of Fenway, David Ortiz is getting picked in like 3 picks. But the next pick is actually Pointy with Thurman Munson from 1973. I think Pointy has Mike Piazza, so this is clearly his backup catcher. Where is he? There he is. He's looking pretty good, you know, just like all around decent offense, decent defense. Great backup catcher, I would say. Oh, nice. Well, I hope you guys have fun. There won't be any pressure since you're out of the playoffs. So are the Mariners, so I can't talk shit. Piazza got drafted pretty early. His defense isn't great, but like again, like if you can get a catcher with that kind of offense, it's pretty rare. Okay, next. Corey Seager from 2023. It's fun because you get these picks that are really recent guys and then these picks that are like 1870s guys, and they're all going to play together, and we'll see what happens. But Corey Seager, I'd say kind of similar to Thurman Munson. Just decent defense, decent offense. Not going to hurt you if he's... I mean, we're at the point where these guys are mostly going to be backups or, guys that need to fill in if someone gets hurt. And if you got a backup like this, I think you're happy with it. He's looking really good. Not very much speed. You'd think Corey Seager would be a little bit faster than that, at least. His base running is like very mediocre overall, but like all of the speed numbers are just terrible. Okay, now we got David Ortiz, and I don't think that Heels picked a year for the large father, but I picked one for him, and let's see if I can see what year that was. Nope. Age 31 season. Yeah, Big Poppy. They actually got a picture that looks a bit like him. Sometimes those do not line up at all. Can't put too much stock in the photos. So age 31 season is probably 2007, it looks like. 2007, he hit 332 with 52 doubles and 35 home runs. So yeah, 171 OPS plus. I think In 2012, he had a 173, but he only played 90 games, and he was older. So I do think that this is probably the year. I guess, like, with the 332 batting average in 2007, I thought that his BABIP number would be a little bit higher. Not surprised that avoid Ks is where it is, but I just thought the overall contact would be a little bit better. And, you know, clearly he's your DH. You're not going to stick him at first base even, probably. Although you might be able to get away with him at first for some games. Like, I just wouldn't play him there with any frequency. No reason when we have a universal DH. But yeah, good pickup in round 16. Okay, now Cubby did pick Johnny Evers with the next pick. So so far he's got Tinker and Evers. And I'm guessing that his round 17 pick will probably be Frank Chance. I would be almost shocked if it wasn't. Okay, so Johnny Evers. Where are you, Johnny Evers? Okay, so it looks like I pulled in a couple different seasons. His age 30 season and his age 26 season. Here, Cubby. Oh, thank you for the follow. Inti, welcome in. Inti, it's here. Thanks for the follow, man. I hope you're the Inti. You're here just in time for Johnny Evers. So, yeah, Johnny Evers, again, looking actually really good. I think Tinker and Evers... Oh, now you're in. You're in the chat now. Welcome in. Is this your first time on Twitch? I mean, that's quite a commitment to being here for the stream, to actually sign up for this website. And thank you for the follow, Myth. Mythoki? I'm sure I said that wrong. I'm sorry. I should just not try. But yeah, actually, I think Tinker and Evers as your double play combination is pretty awesome. Like, his numbers look really good. The avoid Ks, the BABIP, he's going to get on base. He's got good speed. He has pretty good defense. It's not bad at all. So, yeah, I think Cubman's got to do that. But he probably has, like, some stud at second base. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember who his keepers are. Did he have Rogers Hornsby? I suppose I could look. The only other time I went on Twitch was like 3 years ago when you and I first tried to do a live stream. Oh, right. Yeah. No wonder that didn't work out. Okay, let's go on. Let's move on. Next, we have Johnny Mize, picked by Sean, with the 9th pick of round 16. And Johnny Mize was somebody who I heavily scouted. I had like 8 years imported into my scouts because he was so consistent. He had so many good seasons, and they all looked pretty amazing. So for him to last till round 16 was kind of crazy, I thought. Well, yeah, there he is. Oh yeah, Cubby does have Ernie Banks. That's right. Okay. Well, he could play Ernie Banks at first base. Ernie Banks played a lot of first base. I don't know. Tinker to Evers. Oh, well, then you can't have Frank Chance there. Damn it. Tinker to Evers to Banks has a pretty good ring to it, too, though. Johnny Mize, yeah, I don't know which season I actually pulled in here. Oh, it looks like 1939. The 8.8 WAR. Hit 349 with 28 homers, 44 doubles. OPS, oh, well, that doesn't have the OPS plus, but the OPS of over 1,000. And yeah, the numbers look really great. I mean, the first base defense, I think you can live with probably. With the power combined with the contact. That's the deadly combo. And yeah, I ended up going with, well, I ended up deciding to just play Heavy Johnson at first base instead of trying to use him as a utility guy. So then I kind of veered away from looking at first baseman as much. The guy I really wanted was Roger Connor, but Minnesota picked him really early in the draft before I thought he would go. I thought I had a couple more rounds. I think I was actually at the point, though, where I was going to pick him with my next pick, and he stole him from me. But it happens. All right, moving right along. We got Minnesota with Dave Bancroft, who I think he had last year, maybe even the year before as well. And Bancroft, a guy I always scout every year, one of the early guys that I import, because his defense at shortstop is just so awesome. And I feel like, especially when I'm starting to look at my backups, that's like, I just want to have that good defense. That's why I ended up going with Bill Dolan, and also he was a returning pilot, so good to have him as kind of a utility infielder. I think if you can get that shortstop with this kind of defense, you can have him back up third base, back up second base, and then you can save, you know, some roster spots that way. Like, I'm thinking of going with 12 pitchers probably this season, so that only gives me 5 bench guys. So, like, just to have Bill Dolan be able to cover all those positions, I can get away with, and then have a backup catcher and a couple outfielders, and then Augie Gallen, who, or is it Augie Gallan? I think it's Augie Gallan is how you're actually supposed to pronounce it. But anyway, have him at first, as a backup at first, as well as left field. I feel like I can get away with just having the 5 bench guys, because I'll have enough pinch hitting. I shouldn't need it with my lineup anyway, so yeah. Let's keep going. Yak with William Bell. Hang on just one second. William Bell. Yeah, we won't be able to look at him. Thanks, Phoenix. Thank you for that invitation. I'll consider it. William Bell we won't be able to import, but it does look like he has a ton of good seasons. And I'm guessing that Yak got scouting reports here. But he didn't pick a season, so I'm just looking at some of them. 15-6 with a 2.39 ERA, 13-4 with a 2.17. There's a bunch of stuff going on there. Yeah, anyway. That's going to be a good pick, I'm sure. Let's look at the next pick, which is Tunes with is it Julian? No, it must be Julian Tavares. I know, I haven't even gotten started yet. I've just been drinking coffee. But it'll probably happen pretty soon here. Crack the first beer, maybe after the break. All right, here's Tavares with 2 stars. Not that that matters, but Tunes is, you know, he's building a team of guys from his childhood. Is it Julian? Really? Julian? Okay. Well, I'm happy to be corrected. Got to get these things right. See, this is, you know, this is why chat is here. Thank you for that, NT. He's got really good control and actually pretty good movement, honestly. So, you know, this guy might not be terrible. He's going to be a bullpen arm, so, you know, it's just not the, like, I just go for the opposite kinds of guys for my bullpen guys, but anything can and does work sometimes, you know, like you can try a lot of different stuff. That's the other fun thing about this game is like there is no one approach to winning, and that's been proven, especially last year with Heels winning. I feel like he kind of really bucked the trend. And then we have Autumn with Ted Simmons. This was a good pick by Autumn. Really good offense for a catcher. Not going to strike out a lot at all. Just really good overall offensive numbers. And I'd say, you know, again, like something I've gone over in the past videos is we're not seeing any catchers in my imports that have like higher than 65 defense. So having a 55 with these ratings, that's all right. That's not bad at all. Tunes needs to also draft Jason Grimsley just for the fun bat-stealing Mission Impossible story. I mean, if you're going to draft pitchers from mid-90s Cleveland, get the guy who literally climbed through the ceiling and into the umpire's office. No, totally. Oh, man. He definitely needs to. Well, we've got, what, 6 rounds left or whatever. I think it's like 5.5 rounds left now. So and, you know, he's got money to spend at the end. Nobody else is going to pick him. He'll be there, I'm pretty sure. And then Dark Lord of the Empire with Chuck Klein. I think he went with the 1930 season. And I think with this one, I actually looked at 1931, but 1930 did look better. But really good numbers from Klein. He had one of those crazy years. I think he had like, it was like top 5 total bases in a season or something like that. Like only Babe Ruth had more, I think, or something crazy. But yeah, I've had Chuck Klein on my team before in previous years, and he's never done quite as well as I hoped, but he's always been pretty solid for me. And he's got a killer arm, even though the defense in left and right is just okay, like that killer arm could be nice out in right field. Yeah, but I mean, again, you're getting Chuck Klein in round 16. That's pretty good. And then Sith Overlord was Sean Burnett, 2010. Is this one of the guys that's from one of his relatives' hometowns? Either way, I think he actually looks pretty good. I think I looked at him and I was like, oh, well, not a bad pick, actually. Let's see. Yeah, the really good movement, right? Like, so at least he's got really good movement. And I think that can cover a lot of sins, kind of, like if your other numbers aren't that great. The control is at least adequate. And so even though the stuff isn't that great and the pitches aren't amazing, like just having, you're not giving up that solid contact. People are putting it in play, but you're getting outs. So I don't hate it at all. Sean Burnett, actually a good pick. And then here we go, the last pick of round 16, and then I do need a little break. I kind of had a little scratchy throat before I even started doing this, and I was like, do I really want to sign up to talk for 4 hours? We might not make it 4 hours, but I do have 8 rounds worth of picks imported, so if we can continue to get through about 2 an hour, and I can continue that long, we'll try at least. Okay, so Al Spalding was the last pick of round 16. And I feel like Al Spalding was definitely pitching in the era when you still had to throw it underhand. And maybe that explains why the stuff is, it's not that amazing. The movement is okay though, and the control is amazing. And the stamina, of course, is off the charts. And he could play some center field for you if you need him to. And he, started the sporting goods empire. What more could you want? With the caveat that I have less than a dozen catchers who have been scouted, my scouts for catchers top out at 65 defense as well. 1 catcher arm at 75. Wow. Was that Charles Johnson? You don't have to tell me. But I mean, if it was somebody who was already picked, I feel like you could tell. It wasn't Charles Johnson. Okay. Well, oh yeah, I did have another year of Al Spalding too. That was age 22. Here's age 23. I think age 22 clearly looked better. So yeah, I would go with that. Age 22 Spalding. All right, let's. Oh, that's funny how the chat is in the. I haven't been looking at my OBS at all. It's funny how the chat's being covered up by this window. I think I can actually fix that probably, but it'll probably mess it up for a second at least. Like it'll probably erase it or something, but it's okay. Where is it? Chat box. There we go. Well, maybe that's even more annoying. Maybe I should just hide it. Well, I don't think it's covering up any vital information. Well, let me open up a just Tris speaker here. Yeah, I'm just gonna hide it, I think. Yeah, that's fine. We don't need no stinking chat box. Okay. Time for the break. And I'm gonna play my famous BRB video. A song I wrote in 2002 called Dungeon Master. I'll see you guys in about 5.
5 or below. But no, that does not apply to saving throws. If you're playing with teeth, then it's best not to have an attitude, cause I'm the dungeon master. I control every latitude from here to there, to the monsters you meet, all the items that you find and the people you greet. I got elves and gnomes, I got blacksmiths and mariners. In fact, I've got infinite unplayable characters. I'm a madman with some dice in my hands. Let me flip through my books, then my devices and plans will start to take shape like the formation of lands. I'll turn this dungeon into a nation of man. You'll see visions through etherealize. You'll see spirits as they materialize, and pretty soon you'll start blurring the lines between reality and fantasy, the earth in your mind. Come on, game with me, but you better have a strong spine. I'll get you hooked like EverQuest Online. Increasing your experience will take a long time. Start to get delirious, now make a song mine. Game with me, but you better have a strong spine. I'll get you hooked like EverQuest Online. Increasing your experience will take a long time. Start to get delirious, now make a song mine. Do I make it mine? Wait, let me roll the 20-sided. Ouch, I rolled the 20. I don't know if you will survive it. That's why you don't give the DMB. I just killed the character you've had for 15 years, and now you see clear. Finally awakened to the years of your life I've taken. Yes, I'm making it mine, like this song. Straighten your spine, it's not that strong. You gotta build it up, like your wizard or your paladin. Armies of orcs that I'm sending at the battlement. Handle them easily, you might. It just depends on how lucky you be rolling tonight. Do you flee or fight? Now that's up to you. But this troll's got an enchanted club +2. Oh, and also first attack, so get ready to defend. You might be rolling up another one tonight, my friend. I was 12 years old, playing Dungeons and Dragons. I was the one. Playing Dungeons and Dragons. I was 12 years old, playing Dungeons and Dragons. I was 12 years old, playing Dungeons and Dragons. Come on, game with me, but you better have a strong spine. I'll get you hooked like EverQuest Online. Increasing your experience will take a long time. Start to get delirious, now make a song mine. Game with me, but you better have a strong spine. I'll get you hooked like EverQuest Online. Increasing your experience will take a long time. Start to get delirious, now make a song mine. Twice if you get a 5 or below, but no, that does not apply to saving throws. If you're playing with teeth, then it's best not to have an attitude, cause I'm the dungeon master. I control every latitude from here to there.
Okay, we're back. Welcome back. Now we're gonna kick off with round 17. I did grab a beer. And we got Ken Boyer as the first pick in round 17. And he's looking really good. Really good defense at third. Great arm. Great BABIP. This was actually a really good pick by Jedi Marine here. 1961 is what I went with. I think it was like, you know, it's like right up there with his highest OPS and his best war. So yeah, good pick. No real weaknesses that I can see. His speed isn't amazing, but it's at least solid. He's not good at bunting. I guess that's his one weakness. Shout out to LMT Sean, who says he's lurking but also too old for this Twitch shit. Oh man, sign up. Get in here. But no, that's fine. Good to have you here, Sean, even if you're just lurking about. Okay, NT, who is Project Donkey, aka Pronk, 2006? Sometimes I can't figure out your nicknames. Thank you, Travis Hafner. Okay. I'm pretty sure I figured that out earlier by going back in the thread to see who that was. His nickname is Pronk the Project Donkey. Okay, well I'm learning things. It does. It says Pronk right there. All right, fair enough. You weren't lying. And really good offensive numbers though, right? Like this is a DH for sure. Gonna be a DH, but or a pinch hitter maybe. You could be used in a variety of roles, just as a bat though. Pretty much only batting roles, but he's got great power, great eye, and solid contact. So this is a good pick by Sith Overlord. And then Dark Lord of the Empire with Koji Uehara, 2013, which was a crazy relief season, right? And this is a guy that's been drafted in Fodeuss. I feel like going back to the What If days, he had really good numbers for What If as well. But yeah, looking really awesome. Just the home runs allowed might be the one weakness here, but when you have this kind of stuff and these 3 incredible pitches, amazing control, you'll have to live with one little weakness, and at least it's not like in the red. And the BABIP allowed is amazing, so that should balance out pretty well. Just don't love to see that home runs allowed from your relievers. He might give up some crucial late inning homers, but you gotta say he's looking really good. And for a righty to have this kind of hold runners stat is pretty crazy too. Could end up being important as well. Not, just the 25 stamina. You're not getting that 30 that we've seen from some relievers, but that's okay. That's a really good pick by Dark Lord of the Empire, I think. One of the better relievers taken just by the pure pitch numbers and stuff. And then Lefty Gomez, taken by Autumn here. And I had scouted Lefty. Like I thought he looked pretty good. He was on my list of guys to kind of pick up in these later rounds. He's got the great curveball and really good stuff. Just his control's a little down, but the movement's good enough. The stamina's amazing. Yeah, I think Lefty Gomez is gonna be one of Autumn's best pitchers. I mean, he's got some good ones though. He's got J.R. Richard. I know that. Who else does he have? Let's scroll up here a little bit. Hasn't been drafting. Oh, Wilbur Wood. Yeah, that's a good one. Hasn't been drafting that many pitchers in the recent rounds, at least. Oh, Ron Guidry, he has. Yeah, and J.R. Richard, and damn it, this is not the right way to do this. he's got Gagne in the bullpen though. I should open up the rosters on another tab. I'll do that right now, actually, just really quick, just because it's kind of nice to be able to just reference them quickly. I don't think they're. When's the last time you updated the spreadsheet, NT? Has it been a while? Yo, what's up, Pointy? Welcome in. Sorry, I'm just farting around a little bit right now. Don't look at the spreadsheet. Okay. Fair enough. Okay, who is number 15, 1997, NT? I'm so glad you're here. It saves me a lot of trouble. I'm trying to go back through the thread. I feel like I should know this. Oh, Sandy Alomar Jr. Nope, I definitely did not know that. I just feel like Tunes is pandering a little bit here with some of these picks. If these guys rake, I'm going to be very sus. Yeah, well, I talked about it at the beginning of the stream, and then I talked about it again when we got raided by 200 people. Yeah, I mean, I mentioned that it was, that we did it on a Star Wars message board. So that's out there. Yeah, Pointy is another one of the the managers. He has a team in the league, and we'll go through his picks here. He's got the pick of Ralph Kiner coming up pretty soon. So yeah, Sandy Alomar Jr. though. Oh, what happened? Thank you for the follow. Stroker Ace with the follow. Thank you. So yeah, Sandy Alomar Jr. His defense is again compared to the fact that we're only seeing the 65 max. I think this is actually really good defense, which I think you would expect from him. And he's not going to strike out very much at all. So he's going to bring some value just putting the ball in play, I feel like, with, good enough gap power and power to be a contributor, especially if he's a backup catcher. I think he's a really good pick as a backup, but also pandering to the commissioner, who is a Guardians fan. Star Wars nerds pretending they are no longer Star Wars nerds, playing out of the park. I mean, I think I might genuinely be a reformed Star Wars nerd. The last Star Wars thing I watched was the first season of The Mandalorian. I'll probably watch some of the other content at some point. I definitely want to watch Andor, which I keep hearing is actually amazing. But I'm not in a rush to sign up for Disney Plus or try to find it some other way. Yeah, I've heard it's great. I'm kind of glad that I've got it. So I haven't read any spoilers or anything. I'm glad I've got it in the future at some point. Yeah, that's about it. That's what I keep hearing. Everybody complains about all the other shows. I heard The Mandalorian season 2 was pretty good, but season 3 I guess was pretty bad. Visions is fun for what it is. Okay. You're over Star Wars too, Maddie? Yeah, I mean Marvel stuff too. I'm totally checked out with that stuff. Give us some original shit. All right, Juan Padron is the next pick by Sean here. Let's get into that. Oh, another guy that was he a Negro Leagues guy? Or did I just neglect to import him? Oh, he was. Oh, okay. I didn't realize. But what year did he pick? 1924. He was 9-7 with a 2.17 ERA, 2.46 FIP, 0 home runs allowed per 9. Yeah. I'm guessing Sean got the scouting report here. Looking really good, though. Probably a great pick. And then we got Minnesota with Jim Devlin from 1876. Love to see the 1870s guys coming off the board. Yeah, I mean, the 1870s pitchers, again, they're throwing underhand. They have to throw 12 balls for it to be a walk. I don't know how the fucking rules worked back then. It was something like that, though, wasn't it? Like every 4 balls out of the strike zone counted as 1 ball or something like that, or every 3. Yeah, every 3 balls out of the strike zone counted as 1 ball. So so 12 balls to walk somebody. It was something weird like that. He was an Akron groomsman. Nice. But he actually looks pretty good, right? I mean, the control's good. The pitches are okay. The stuff is okay. It's kind of fun to have these old-timey guys, whether they're pitchers or hitters. Cubby didn't pick anyone in round 17, or what happened with Cubby's round 17 pick? Because this recap goes all the way through, halfway through round 25. Every 4th beer counts as an actual beer. He picked someone. Oh, nobody narked? Oh, no. Well, we have to go back and find it now. I can find it. It won't take too long. So what round are we in here? We're in round 17. Okay, round 17, right after Minnesota picked Jim Devlin. Okay, I'll do the next one, then we'll come back to Cubbies. Thank you, NT. Okay, so the next was Wang with Cliff Lee. And got him in here. Just the great control. You'd want to see the at least one of these pitches be at least in the green though, but you know, he's got the great control and the good enough movement maybe that this won't matter too much. I know Cliff Lee is a guy who's had success in Fodeuss before. One thing I didn't mention is what Fodeuss actually stands for. For all the people who are new to this whole idea, it stands for the Field of Dreams Expanded Universe starring Shaq. Because one of our players, Lloyd Christmas, likes to say that all of his players are actually Shaq cosplaying as that player, except for Shoeless Joe Jackson, who is J.R. Smith. Shirtless J.R. Okay, Catfish Hunter. All right, let's look at Catfish Hunter. Oh, I picked 2 years of him, or 3 years. I couldn't. Oh, I know 4 years of Catfish Hunter, because I couldn't find one that looked good. I was like, and I thought for sure he should look better than this. But here's his age 27 season. Here's his age 28 season. Here's his age 25 season. And they just all, like, I don't know. Hopefully this is one where it's just my imports are off or something. Because I feel like Catfish Hunter should at least be a solid pitcher. And this is his age 23 season. But just none of them looking very impressive at all. And I don't know what the deal is with that. But maybe just keep trying more seasons. And then we have Pointy. So after Wang took Cliff Lee, we have Pointy with Ralph Kiner. With the 12th pick of round 17. Ralph Kiner, the answer on quite a few Sporkle quizzes that I've done. You always want to put Kiner in there. Any home run related ones especially. Kind of an underrated guy. The power is just crazy, right? You're just going to be lacking a little contact here with him, Pointy, but at least his avoid Ks is in the green, and his eye is really good. So, like, that's going to balance out this yellow up here, I think. He might not get on base very much with singles, but he's going to hit some homers, and he's going to walk a lot. And he has good enough defense in left that he's not like a liability out there. Plus, he never gives less than 100%. Yeah, he's a 3 true outcomes guy for sure. Although the strikeouts aren't that bad. They're not that bad. He's going to put it in play. Jose Fernandez, 2016. I feel like with Jose, I mean, may he rest in peace, his numbers always look great and then he always struggles. It's like what I've noticed anyway. But his numbers look great. Again, the pitches are insane. Maybe it's just this number that holds him back, but I feel like in previous years, he didn't look like that, really. But anyway, he's got the great stuff. I don't know if Amazing's going to be using him as a bullpen arm or what, but these 3 pitches, having 3 really good pitches and really good stuff makes me think bullpen. Because he can just come in and blow some guys away. He's got this amazing hold runners. But yeah, it's the sad tale, the tragic case of, and usually I'm the guy who drafts all the tragic cases, but yeah. All right, I drafted Miller Time. The same year the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead, and nice. That's a really good that you snuck that in there, NT. I would have drafted the guy who killed him. Wasn't it Jose's fault? Didn't he kill himself and somebody else? Or am I getting that wrong? I'd hate to get that wrong. Yeah. I felt like that's what came out, is that he was driving the boat when he was impaired, but maybe he was the passenger and I got it backwards. I don't know. Andrew Miller, though, yeah, my one relief pitcher that I picked in the draft so far. I mean, not the only person I'll use as a relief pitcher, but the only guy who really was one in real life. And I just couldn't resist. Especially when you look at the if you look at the ratings and look at how he does against lefties, 90 stuff against lefties with the, just these crazy all the numbers up here, like, and if I'm just using him as my left-handed specialist, which is my plan, hopefully it'll work out great. But I do know that he has struggled in Fodeuss before, so that, and maybe other people were aware of that as well, which is why he lasted until round 17. But I couldn't pass him up anymore. I just had to go for it. And I'm just thinking, the 25 stamina maybe won't matter so much because he's only coming in to get one really tough lefty out. And when you're in a league that has, Babe Ruth and Barry Bonds and Stan Musial and, you name it, all these crazy left-handed hitters, like, to have a guy like this might be really huge. Grab some dinner and check in from time to time while stressing about the Mets. Okay, understandable, Pointy. Thanks for being here, man. Let's keep going. Andrew Miller, hopefully he'll work out. And then Rod Beck, of course, Rod Beck, picked by Heels here. A Heels staple. Rod Beck and his majestic mustache. So many names. Yeah, I mean they're coming right down to the wire. And they have to play a doubleheader on Monday. Is that right? Like, oh man, they have a crazy schedule coming up because of the hurricane. The Braves games got canceled, I think, is what happened. Who has time to keep up with current baseball when there's so much historical knowledge to absorb? But Rod Beck, I think I picked his 1987 season here. No, that's not right. It's his age 23 season though, and he's looking really good. He's got 3 really good pitches, great control, great stuff. The home runs allowed might be the one thing that you don't love, but I like that Rod Beck looks this good. Yeah, wild card is on the line for sure. The Phillies, I know, already clinched the division. But yeah, let's okay, moving on. We got Bill Bird, another historical black pitcher drafted by Lloyd. I'm just gonna look him up really quick. Oh, he didn't pick a year, but he had several really good years. Just looking at this 1943 season, 2.32 FIP, 135 innings he got in that year. 10-5 with the 2.93 ERA. I mean, he's going to have several to pick from. And he was actually one who I was able to get to import even in my scouting thing. Like, it worked. But I don't want to show him and not show any of the others. But yeah, and I think the import is going to be way off because it didn't go through Inti's system of importing those guys. So it's not really worth looking at. But he looked really good. And I got Dave Brown to work too, and he looked really good too. Jose Ramirez hit his 39th homer tonight, closing in on a 40-40 season and maybe even a 40-40-40 season. It's nice to only have to stress about that and not a playoff spot. Yeah, the Guardians are in, so yeah, you're stoked. I think that's probably my top rooting interest for the postseason this year is Guardians. I would just love to see them break their curse. I mean, a team that had never won, like Padres, would also be okay with me. But, I don't know. I think I'll be going Guards now that the M's are out. Okay, then he picked George Walker. He had the very next pick because of a trade with RX. And I'm just going to look at him really quick, too. Oh, yeah. Yeah, the 8-1 season with a 1.99 ERA. These numbers look insane. Like, especially the next season, but he only had 4 starts, but 8 games and 4 starts. But the one where he pitched the 90 innings is probably the one you're going to have to use, I guess. I think that the small sample size of the other year might hold you back, but I don't know if that 1940 season is usable. Like it, yeah, because I think with these guys, they kind of, it's similar to the 2020 seasons where they extrapolate it like what it would be over a full season. Just because there are so few box scores from those old historical black games. And then, Lloyd had the next 2 picks as well, and he picked 2 more guys. from historical black teams. Okay, Verdell Mathis. Look at him really quick. Probably looking at this, I'm gonna guess this 1944 season, 7-2 with a 2.85 ERA. But this guy looks like he was just super consistent from 1940 to like 1946 of just putting up great numbers whenever he pitched. So probably another great pick by Lloyd. And then he picked Steel Arm Tyler, who I had looked at before, but I felt like he just had such small sample sizes that... But let me look again. Oh no, he did have some seasons where he pitched quite a bit. Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know how this is going to translate. He had one season where he had 23 starts, but the numbers don't look that great. 9-12 with a 4.14 ERA. I don't know. I'm sure there's some method to his madness here. Oh, okay. And then we got Stephen Kwan taken by Heels with its... Okay, so now we're into round 18. This is the first pick in round 18. Stephen Kwan. Oh, wait, I think I should already have him here. Sorry, I got so used to looking guys up because that's what we were doing. I just did it on autopilot. Yeah, here he is. And this must be... well, it's his age 24 season. Let's look him up, actually. Because I'm not sure what year I used. I'm guessing I must have used... Yeah, I must have used the rookie season. Yeah, because it wouldn't have made sense to use 2023. He only had the 97 OPS plus that year. The rookie year, though, it looks pretty good. Like, he's just going to make great contact. It's like pretty much what you would expect it to be. Just not great power, but a little bit of gap power, good eye. Not going to strike out. Going to make a lot of great contact and really good speed that you would expect. Maybe the defense you'd think would be a little better, but, you know, when you're pandering to the commissioner, you can't go wrong. And then it's my... Oh, wait. Did somebody get skipped here? Oh, I see. No, I see. You just put those all in a row. So actually, the next pick here was Steel Arm Tyler. Pandering to the commissioner's kids. Even better. And so then my pick with the third pick in round 18 was Bill Dolan, who was just apparently a bit of a hard ass. They called him Bad Bill. I think he took it pretty seriously, but he's got this great defense at short. He's got this great speed. I'm willing to live with these contact numbers just because I'm really looking for him to be kind of my utility infielder, like backing up my starters and just playing really good defense in the infield. And I feel like these ratings, especially this turn double play rating, like I can put him at second and he'll do great probably. As a backup, hopefully. Like, you know, this is my first candidate as somebody to move into the starting role if I lose my third baseman, my shortstop, or my second baseman to injuries. Hopefully that won't happen, and this guy can just be, like, filling in every few days at those positions. But he is going to strike out some. He must have had, like, 12 strikeouts, which was a lot, in 1896. Not really. Okay, then Amazing with Buck Leonard, 1938. This is another one I'll just look up really quick. Oh yeah, 1938 Buck Leonard only hit 420. That's all. With a 223 OPS plus, a 1240 OPS. I mean, there was only the 42 games, but again, I think you're going to get it. Hopefully, you'll get it extrapolated kind of over a more complete season, because 42 games is actually kind of high for some of these seasons. Doesn't have his strikeout numbers. The one thing I would worry is that they might kind of just make him strike out a lot, because there are no strikeout statistics for these seasons. But maybe they won't. Maybe they'll go the other way. It's totally possible. And then we got Pointy with Jake Peavy, 2007 Peavy. And just like right down the board, just very solid. Just the good pitches all around with two like even better pitches. And he's got 6 pitches. And I mean, that I feel like that's great. And all these numbers are really good. Like PV, I think I've had on my team before, just that kind of in a bullpen role, and he's been good for me. I feel like you could even use him as a starter. The numbers compared to some of the other guys we've been looking at look really good. The stamina maybe like might make you lean more towards like a middle relief kind of role, I guess, because it is kind of down there. But if you're getting 5 or 6 innings out of him, that's also really decent. So I like the pick. And then we got Wang with Turkey Stearns, 1929. Another guy we'll have to look up here. Another guy who's going to have some crazy rate stats, probably. If not the totals, you know. 1929, 390 he hit with 1140 OPS, 194 OPS plus. Looks like 1931 he also had some crazy stats, but he had way less games. He had 68 games in 1929, which is a pretty good sample size. He had 16 homers and 17 doubles, 91 RBIs in 68 games. He had other years where he had over 100. Oh, wow. Yeah, Turkey Stearns, great pick, Hall of Famer, and rightly so. Next we got, well, see, NT, it says that Cubby picked Catfish Hunter in this round. I'm not quite there, but after the so I don't know, maybe he picked him 2 rounds in a row. There could be some sort of glitch in the matrix. But the next pick is actually Yak with Yu Darvish from 2020. I believe this is Yak's 2nd or 3rd 2020 season that he selected. But let's look at it. And maybe the pitchers are getting a little bit more punished for the small sample size of 2020 than the batters are. I don't know. It's not terrible. Like, he's got the nasty splitter, the really good control. You know, the stuff is okay, the movement's okay. It's like, it's not nothing terrible about him, but I just, you know, you'd want a little bit more on some of these pitches. Okay, I will do that after I'm done doing the stream. I'll try to figure it out, NT. It's okay. Yeah, rest in peace, Shane Bieber. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I've just steered clear from 2020 guys in general. I do think it's worth a gamble once you get in the later rounds, but especially with the pitchers, maybe it's not actually. Okay, so then Catfish Hunter we already went over. 9th pick in round 18 is RX with Jesse Burkett, 1896. I believe he hit like 420 something that year. Just a crazy contact season, you would think, at least. Yeah. The 85 BABIP. That's nuts. And 65 avoid Ks. So his contact is just off the charts. You're willing to live with that lack of power. This guy's just going to be getting base hits all the time. And he's got good enough speed that he can motor around the bases. And I think he's another guy kind of notorious for not being a great defender, but he's adequate out there, at least in this season. And then we got Minnesota with Shane Mack. Minnesota's just got, I think he's probably already got more than 40 guys somehow on his team, it feels like, at this point in the draft. Like, so he can just draft whoever he wants. But he's been striking this amazing balance of putting together a great Fodeuss team and at the same time getting guys that are, you know, players from his childhood and stuff like that. So he's just having a killer draft. And Shane Mack looking pretty good, right? Really good defense in left, good enough speed, this great BABIP. It's actually a great pick. Minnesota's clearly been doing a lot of scouting. I think he's admitted as much, that he has a copy of the game and has been looking at how guys look. And finding guys that check multiple boxes, like they're really good and they're my favorite guy, you know, that kind of thing. And then Sean finally drafting King Felix here. Felix lasting until round 18. It's got to be a little bit of a upset. But, you know, you look at the numbers and it's like, it's kind of PV-ish, like where everything is good and nothing's terrible, except that they say his stuff's not that great, but it's not, he's probably, yeah, and he is see, I feel like this neutral thing in previous seasons, he's been a ground baller. And that could just be different in my import as well. Inties might say ground baller, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, if everybody was looking at this, you could see why he lasted to round 18, but I don't really get it. I wanted to take him a couple times, but ended up talking myself out of it. But of course, he's one of my favorite baseball players of all time. Tunes with Mike Marshall, 1974. And now, if there was ever a reliever that should have more than 30 stamina, it's Mike Marshall. Let's see if he does. Probably not. Oh, he does. He has 35. Well, that at least makes sense, that he has like one of the highest staminas for a reliever that we've seen. Do we get his stats in here? Yeah, so how many games? 106 games, 208 innings. Like 35 stamina is still not doing him justice. He threw over 200 innings as a reliever. Appeared in 106 games. Like that's pretty nuts. And the stats are looking pretty good. He's got the 3 pitches, which I think is okay for a reliever to have fewer pitches, and really good movement numbers, decent control. Not going to strike out a ton of guys, but he should be able to get some outs for you in the pen. Yeah, good pick by Tunes. And now we have Autumn with Rafael Palmeiro and his Defiant Finger Wag, 1999. Okay, here's your 99 Palmeiro. Looking pretty good, I would say. I mean, it's kind of more of a DH type again, just not very good ratings. And I think he throws left-handed, so he can't really play anything but first base anyway. But you know, the power numbers are what you'd expect, really good. You know, we haven't been seeing too many guys in my imports that go over the 65. We've seen a few 70s, and like, of course, your Barry Bonds, your Babe Ruth are going to be up here at 80, but only really those guys. So getting the 65 is really good. And he's not going to strike out a ton. I think that's a great combo to have. The low strikeouts with the power. His BABIP is the one thing that's a little down, but, you know, Palmeiro. He's Rafael Palmeiro. He's a controversial figure of the steroid era, but he did hit. He did fucking rake. Okay, now Mike Adams, 2011. This is a guy that was I was drafted back in the What If days. He just had this crazy small sample size, amazing season, but he actually looks pretty good in here too, I think. Yeah, pretty good. 2 really good pitches. Couple more decent ones, 5 overall pitches, and all of these numbers, you know, nothing in the yellow, so no real big holes in his game. Of course, he's going to have the really low stamina. I don't think we've ever seen a 20. I think 25 is basically the lowest, but that just makes sense, right? I mean, because I think he didn't. If we get this, no, we don't get the stats here. I could look it up, but I know he didn't pitch that many innings. And then we get Sith Overlord with Dobie Moore. Don't have a year listed here, so I don't know if he's picking a historical black season or not. Yeah, I didn't import him because I wasn't sure what to do there, because he does, you know, of course he has seasons in both leagues, but I think I'll just look him up really quick here so we can just kind of see what his best season was. Oh, I was thinking of Larry Doby. I was thinking of Larry Doby, who has this. Is that Dobie Moore? I think only played in the Negro Leagues. Yeah, he did. I've had him on my team before. I shouldn't have made that mistake. It's just the Doby thing threw me off. But he does. It looks like he's gonna have great defense. He had a lot of D-WAR, and he had the year. I'm guessing probably. Well, man, a couple really good years. I think 1922 he had the great defense, and he hit 386, like 158 OPS plus. In 1924 he had a 161 OPS plus, so that might also be an option. The defense still looks like it's pretty good then. So yeah, Dobie Moore is a good pick. And then Mike Mussina, Jedi Marine, closing out round 18. And since he didn't give us a year, it looks like I pulled in a couple different years here for him. This is another one where I just thought these, some of these pitches would be better. The knuckle curve especially, I thought that would be a nasty pitch. But at least he has the good control and the good movement. So it's just one of those profile types where it's like you can't worry too much about the pitch quality and the stuff, because if they're just relying on control and movement, that can be enough to get outs. And that was age 32, and here's age 30 season. This one looks a little better, right? Like the changeup is way better. Knuckle curve is still the same, but these, yeah. So I think age 30 season probably is where I'd go with Mike here. Let's see if we can. No stats. But yeah, so that's the end of round 18, and I did say 2 rounds and then breaks, which we got through these 2 rounds a little bit quicker. But I think I still am going to follow that just because I want to grab another beer and stuff. But so let's take another quick break. Yeah. I could totally see that exact comment. I finally put that guy on ignore. It was hard to do because he talks so much, but I didn't want, like the baseball thread in particular gets so dominated, but I just couldn't. I just got tired of his attitude. Like, it's always sarcastic, like, just like, eventually it just wore me down. I had to click the mute button. But hopefully he doesn't watch this VOD, or I'm sure he won't. Okay, I'm going to take another quick break, and I will be right back with round 19 and 20. We're going to do this. We're going to get through rounds 22, I think. As long as my voice holds out. Okay, be right back.
But no, that does not apply to saving throws. If you're playing with teeth, then it's best not to have an attitude, cause I'm the dungeon master. I control every latitude from here to there, to the monsters you meet, all the items that you find and the people you greet. I got elves and gnomes, I got blacksmiths and mariners. In fact, I've got infinite unplayable characters. I'm a madman with some dice in my hands. Let me flip through my books, then my devices and plans will start to take shape like the formation of lands. I'll turn this dungeon into a nation of man. You'll see visions through etherealize. You'll see spirits as they materialize, and pretty soon you'll start blurring the lines between reality and fantasy, the earth in your mind. Come on, game with me, but you better have a strong spine. I'll get you hooked like EverQuest Online. Increasing your experience will take a long time, start to get delirious. Now make a song mine. Game with me, but you better have a strong spine. I'll get you hooked like EverQuest Online. Increasing your experience will take a long time, start to get delirious. Now make a song mine. Do I make it mine? Wait, let me roll the 20-sided. Ouch, I rolled the 20. I don't know if you will survive it. That's why you don't give the DMB. I just killed the character you've had for 15 years, and now you see clear. Finally awakened to the years of your life I've taken. Yes, I'm making it mine. Like this song, straighten your spine. It's not that strong, you gotta build it up. Like your wizard or your paladin. Armies of orcs that I'm sending at the battlement. Handle them easily, you might. It just depends on how lucky you be rolling tonight. Do you flee or fight? Now that's up to you. But this troll's got an enchanted club +2. Oh, and also first attack, so get ready to defend. You might be rolling up another one tonight, my friend. I was 12 years old playing Dungeons and Dragons. I was the one. Playing Dungeons and Dragons. strong spine. I'll get you hooked like EverQuest Online. Increasing your experience will take a long time. Start to get delirious. Now make a song mind. Game with me, but you better have a strong spine. I'll get you hooked like EverQuest Online. Increasing your experience will take a long time. Start to get delirious. Now make a song mind. Twice if you get a 5 or below, but no, that does not apply to saving throws. If you're playing with teeth, then it's best not.
And we're back. Welcome back. We're into round 19 now. Javi Lopez, picked by Jedi Marine with the first pick here. So let's take a look. And really good offense for a catcher with this really decent defense, you know, compared to what we've seen. He's going to be really good, it seems like. Good framing, really good framing, and a decent arm compared to what, you know, like we're just not, like NT said, even in his imports, only 170 arm and only 65 defense as the max, so that's interesting. I'm glad to hear that lines up though, because it means maybe I'm kind of on the right track with the year. But yeah, I mean, looking at this, it looks like he shouldn't have lasted this long. This is a really good catcher, especially as your backup, because he's got Yachty. He's got Yachty, who had that 65D. Yeah, we might see a shit ton for sure. And like my team, I gotta up my my slider on Magnum for steals because I got so many fast guys on my team. I gotta steal more. I think I have it set to -1 right now. I gotta set it to at least +1, I think. But I'll make that official in the thread at some point. So you don't have to remember that right now. But and then we got Sith Overlord with Bobby Bonds, 1973. Fun to see Bobby go. You'd kind of like to see him to go to the heels so he could have the father-son combo, but fun to see Bobby get drafted here. And he's looking like he's got really good defense in right field. And, you know, the contact isn't, you know, he's going to strike out a bit, but his BABIP is actually pretty good. And the gap power is great. The power's good. Really good speed. So just an all-around balance. Just these contact numbers has been a really big emphasis for the guys that I'm looking at. So I wouldn't have drafted Bobby, but, you know, guys like this have been successful before. It could happen again. And at least he has a pretty good eye. So even if he's not making contact that much, he's still going to get on and be able to use this speed. Well, you know, I'm like in my role play of it's like I'm Higgins and Magnum is the manager, but Higgins tells him what to do all the time because Higgins knows baseball, or he knows cricket really well. So he's applying cricket strategy. Magnum, of course, a huge baseball fan, Detroit Tigers fan. He must be happy right now. They're in the playoffs for the first time in 10 years. But he's not like the military strategist that Higgins is. So he trusts Higgins' judgment, and when Higgins tells him what to do, he does it. That's how I'm seeing it anyway. And then we got Dark Lord of the Empire with a name I'm sure I'm going to butcher, but it's Hung Chi Kuo, who had, like a crazy season, right? And he was a lefty too, right? This was another like Andrew Miller type of consideration, like just to get, I wanted to have that one guy in the pen who could just get lefties out. Not quite the Andrew Miller numbers though, but still really good. 4 really good pitches, 3 that are in the turquoise here. and the really good stuff. Let's look at the ratings. Yeah, even better against lefties. Well, at least the home runs allowed and the stuff are better against lefties. So could be that kind of lefty role, I think. And a good pick here by Dark Lord of the Empire. And then the guy that we're not sure really exists, Bob Fothergill, selected by Autumn with the 4th pick of round 19. I mean, spoiler alert, he does really exist. I had to look him up so I could import him into the game. And he is in here. There he is. And honestly, he's pretty good. He's got good defense in the outfield, especially if you put him in left. He's got pretty good speed, and he's got really good contact numbers. This looks like a guy that fits the profile of Autumn's team. He's been going, for the most part, with not really good power guys, but really good contact guys, fast guys that are going to play good defense. So I'm liking the construction of his team. I think, I know he struggled the last time he played the game, and he's kind of making his return this year. I think he's going to do a lot better. I can't guarantee a playoff spot or anything like that, but I don't think he'll be last this year. Fats Fothergill, yeah, that is his nickname, right? Fats, man, what? Yeah, this he has a little mustache. Let's see what he really looks like. Let's see what Bob Fothergill looks like. I'm just curious. Oh, there he is. He's kind of a handsome. Well, I don't know. Actually, looks a little dopey. There he is. Let's put him next to his picture here. Oh no, I went big. Didn't mean to go big. But there he is, Bob Fothergill. Fats. He doesn't look that fat. I guess you can get the nickname Fats without being fat. Okay, next we have Yak with Alex Radcliffe, 1943. Is that another historical black player? I like learning things. Yeah, it is. He played for 20 years. 1943, he hit 369. Led his league in hitting. Only 30 games, so hopefully you're getting that sort of extrapolation. But a 164 OPS plus, so that should be pretty awesome, I would think. Not sure if Yak got the scouting report from NT on that one, but if he did, I'm sure it looked good. Okay, and then Minnesota with Tom Flash Gordon, 2004 Flash. And he looks really good. Wow. Just having all of these numbers in the turquoise, only the control in the green, like that's a really good balance that we haven't seen from too many guys. Of course he's got the devastating curveball. That's one thing I remember from when I was a kid. I really loved Tom Gordon when I was a kid. He was one of my favorite pitchers that was like a non-Mariner. And I loved his, because I think when he first came up, he was a starter. And I think he got hurt or something. Then he resurrected his career as a reliever. And I love that kind of story too. And he was a dominating reliever for sure. So it's good to see the numbers looking this good. And then Sean with Mark Pryor, 2003. Another guy that, of course his career was cut short by injuries, but when he was really good, he was really good. So it's a guy that you would expect to not be on the board still here. Just these 4 really good pitches, 3 amazing pitches, especially the curve. The stamina a little down for a starter, but the stuff is amazing. The movement, you could quibble a little there. This profile makes me think reliever. I don't know why I'm so stuck on this idea that I want my relievers to be the high stuff guys with the great pitches, but I am stuck on it. And for starters, I'm looking for more of the balance. I'm looking for more movement, more control. Whereas with relievers, I'm not so super worried about the control, and maybe that'll come back to bite me, but we will see. That's the beauty of playing the game. And then that's kind of funny. Kerry Wood picked right after Mark Pryor, unless this is the thing that NT goofed up. I don't know. We're going to figure that out later. But man, what a rotation that could have been, right? If those two guys had stayed healthy. And I know Kerry Wood had a great career as a reliever late, or, you know, pretty good career at least as a reliever later. But man, look at those, like those, again, it's the Mark, it's like, except for the control being down here, it's pretty much Mark Pryor's numbers, right? And he's got 6 pitches. Looking pretty good. I think that, you know, seeing those guys come off the board together like that, they both probably should have come off sooner. And then another pitcher from similar era, Sean with Josh Johnson, 2010. Just one of those not very renowned, but and yet amazing seasons in baseball history. And he's looking, this reminds me a lot of the Jake Peavy profile. Well, except I think Peavy had more pitches, but all the pitches were good, all the numbers were good. Josh Johnson looking like a really good pick for sure. And he's been successful before in Fodeuss. He's one of those guys that you can kind of lean on, I feel like. And another guy that shouldn't have been on the board in round 19, really. But there's a lot of that. That's the one thing I think we figured out this season, is that there are so many good players in the history of baseball that you can kind of just do what you want with this draft a little bit. And there's still going to be guys on the board that will fill any potential gaps in your team later. Although I'm kind of out of pitchers. I mean, I got a couple guys that I'm going to take for the minor leagues that I can call up, but like I think I've got my starting staff, like my whole staff for opening day pretty much picked, but I don't have anybody else like right now, and I am kind of struggling at this point. But in round 19, obviously, there were still quite a few guys on the board. They're just gone now. Next, we have Wang with Norm Cash. Another guy that has been so good in Fodeuss and has been drafted much higher than this in the past. But Jason Grimsley is still on the board. I should steal him from Tunes. Like he stole Weezer Dell from me that one year. When you were like, there's another Dodger pitcher that you might want to pick, like kind of giving him a hint to pick Fernando, and he picked Weezer Dell. Oh, he was just out to get me that year, though. He picked Willie Mays with his first pick. I learned my lesson there. I can never not keep Willie Mays. What were we looking at? Oh yeah, Norm Cash. Sorry, here he is. Look at, I mean, the crazy that he was still here. But I mean, it is first base. It's a very deep position. I get that. Everybody already had their starter. Nobody really needed Norm, but that BABIP with that power and that eye. And really good defense at first as well. Like, I mean, good, you know, very much adequate. He's not going to be a terror on the base paths, but not what you're looking for. Out of Norm, you're looking for that middle of the lineup bat driving in runs. Okay, Andrew Jones, 2000, selected by Pointy here with the 12th pick of round 19. And the Pointy's gonna love this. The defense is like you would expect out of Andrew Jones, but I don't think I've seen a 90 defense. Maybe from any outfielder. Maybe there was one or two that we had a 90 on, but I've seen a few 80s, a few 85s for sure. And that 85 range, like, just, I mean, especially if you're playing in kind of a bigger park, like, to have this guy in center field would be amazing. And it would make up for, like, you know, what is kind of pedestrian offense, it looks like. I mean, just a little bit pedestrian, like. He has the potential to have this really good power, and he's got good speed. The speed is actually really good, but it's just, yeah, the contact, the eye. He's not going to get on base a ton, but if he's in the bottom of your order and you've got him in there mostly for defense, that's completely understandable. And if this guy's like a 4th or 5th outfielder that just needs to fill in if somebody goes down, or just play occasionally, be it, or late inning defensive replacement as well. There's a lot of roles that Andrew could play, I feel like. Okay, you've only seen 390 defense? Okay. Yeah, that's going to be pretty rare. I know Willie Mays didn't have that. Let's look at Willie Mays real quick. Yeah, he had 80. But yeah, you got to love Willie Mays' numbers here. I'm going to put Willie Mays back in the number 3 spot, at least to start the year. We're counting on a lot from him this year. Aroldis Chapman, another controversial, kind of a scumbag. But amazing picking him here with the 13th pick of round 19. And, I mean, another scumbag who can throw it 105 miles an hour. So, like, of course he was going to get drafted eventually. Somebody had to do it, I guess. And you see the stuff, 85 stuff, 80 on every pitch. Just 3 nasty pitches. Only thing is he'll be a bit wild, but everything else, like, I mean, the 25 stamina, you don't love that. You're not going to want to use this guy like 3 or 4 days in a row, probably. Could mess up his whole season, it feels like. And since you don't have much control over that, that's why, I mean, maybe if we, like, were controlling it more every day to day, like you could say, oh, you know, don't use this guy, you know, like that kind of thing. But since we're not doing that, and it's like we're playing 6 games at a time, that's another reason I think I've just shied away from these bullpen guys and use starters to fill those roles instead. It's just because I even if you know, if Tom Selleck decides to send Dazzy out there 4 days in a row, I think he'll be fine because he's got this crazy stamina. And if he's only pitching 1 inning in each of those 4 games, I feel like that's still way less than 1 start. So yeah, that's just my thinking. And I've watched other people have really good success with bullpens that are crafted more traditionally, but you know, what are you gonna do? You gotta go with your gut on some of these things. Okay, next is me with Jesse Tannehill, finally getting picked in round 19. I really thought this was one that was like, really, nobody's taking this guy? He's been like I think he's been drafted in like the first 5 or 6 rounds most years, and just to leave him on the board this long was kind of nuts to me. But people are leaning different ways, and you know, some of that has to do with past performance and stuff. But Tannehill, like, not that stars mean anything, I've been trying not to mention that very much, but he was one of the very few guys that had 4 more stars in my reports that was left at this point in round 19, as far as pitchers go. But you can see, like, the numbers aren't that amazing. The control is really good, and the pitches are decent enough. Like, I do wish the movement was like a little bit better. I didn't expect the great stuff from a 1902 pitcher, but I mean, unless it's Rube Waddell or somebody. But I do wish the movement was a little bit better, and that's why I didn't draft him sooner. But he's got that great stamina, so and I'm planning on using him as the long reliever / emergency starter. And if a starter goes down, he's kind of first in line to take that role. So yeah, I love the stamina. I like what I'm seeing out of the pitches, and I like the control. But he's not, you know, he's not elite in anything else, really. Okay, moving along. My voice is starting to go a little bit. Okay, we've got 2 historical black players drafted back-to-back here, with RX taking Charlie Smith and Heels taking Cool Papa Bell. Let's just look at their numbers really quick. Yeah, Chino Smith, I mean, is it 1929 season where he hit 451? 29 doubles and 22 homers in only 66 games, a 1421 OPS and 242 OPS plus. Those are like records, basically. What is the highest OPS? Well, I gotta look really quick now. What is the highest OPS plus in a season ever? I must know. Adjusted OPS plus single season. Charlie Smith had the 12th highest with the 242. Josh Gibson, number 1 and 2. Barry Bonds, number 3, 4, and 5. Barry Bonds had a 268 OPS plus in 2002, 263 in 2004, and 259 in 2001. 3 of the top 5 OPS plus seasons of all time, and the other 2 were both Josh Gibson. That's crazy. I mean, but Charlie Smith was better than all but one Babe Ruth season. Babe Ruth had one season with a 255, and that was the 7th highest of all time. Anyway, interesting. Let's see. And the next one was Cool Papa Bell. Let's look him up really quick. Man, what a cool player to have. I mean, literally, it is Cool Papa Bell, but it looks like Heels didn't pick a year, but I would probably go with, I don't know, maybe 1925. Looks really good. Yeah. 347 average, 940 OPS, and led his league in steals, led his league in doubles, had 10 homers in only 87 games. So, like, just going to be, I think, the best all-around year, probably. Okay, moving right along. Round 20. We get through round 20. We only have 2 more rounds to go. We're not I know that we're actually in round 27 right now, but we're not going to get all the way there. Because for one thing, I only imported through round 22. So that was my goal for today. And it'll be kind of a miracle if we get there now, because the scratchiness is getting to be kind of intense. I need more beer. Okay, here we go. Juan Marichal kicking off round 20. Let's find him. Looks like another one where Heels didn't pick a year, so I might have picked a couple. Yeah, I did. Not looking super amazing, but the really amazing control, and like everything else is good, at least up here. Like all of his stats are at least good, and this is his age 28 season. And then I also got age 27 season, and it's looking pretty similar, but I think age 28 is clearly the year. Let's go back to that one really quick. Yeah, just everything looking a little bit more solid. Again, you'd wish the pitches were a little better, but Monday Night Jedi, welcome in. That must be Minnesota. Is that what MN stood for the whole time? We thought it was Minnesota Jedi. No, it's not. Okay. You just made it. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for making an account just so you can watch the stream. That's pretty incredible. It is now. It is what it stands for now. Yeah, you blew it. You know, like whatever it stood for before, that's in the past. No, but thank you for doing that. Feel free to click the follow button. Sorry, that's terrible. Okay, I knew I could get you to do it though. No, thank you for the follow. We've gotten a few follows today. We had a huge raid earlier from Axel, and we've had a lot of viewers for the stream. I totally did not expect that at all. Hopefully people are enjoying this out of the park baseball niche content. But that was Juan Marichal. We're moving along. Next is Bill Holland. Another one that we can't look at. Let's look at the stats though. Monday Night Wars are back? Oh, wow. Man, I gotta watch some wrestling. I gotta learn something about wrestling so I can do my wrestling commentary. That's my other job. Who am I looking up again? God damn it. Bill Holland, sorry. And he picked, looks like 1939, Bill Holland. Huh, interesting. Okay, well, it says he was only 2-4 that year with a 4.89 ERA, so I don't know. There must be some juju in the scouting report or something. I don't know. Or he's just messing with us and he's going to switch years at the last minute or something. Or it's just the wrong year. I don't know. Yeah. But, very curious. Curiouser and curiouser. Oh, and then it's me with Augie Galan. Augie Galan, who got a shout out in the Van Lingle Mungo song. If you guys listened to that when I posted it in the thread, incredible song where it's like a jazz sort of vocal thing from the early '90s, where the singer just lists baseball players from like the 30s and 40s and 50s, and it's and like all of their great names, like Stan Petrocelli, whatever. Whatever the names were. It's so good though. Van Lingle Mungo. Yeah, it's so good. Ooh, Van Mungo could get the Shockmaster. Yeah, I like that. I like that idea a lot, actually. Love it. Okay, so Augie Galan. Let's look at him. Another like sort of World War II guy that kind of, I think, excelled because of the weaker competition, but the numbers looked really good, and NT's report looked basically, I did get the report on this one. I don't know how many scouting reports I've gotten this year, but it's like 10 or 12. It's not very many, but this was one of them, and he looked pretty decent, so I think also he's got this availability at first and left field where he's, decent at both, so I think he can back up both of those spots. And I'll be sure to get him some playing time. Like, I'm not gonna do too many guys that are just like only playing if the starter's tired. I'm gonna just put them in like every 4th day, every 5th day, so I can get them, like, definitely get them playing time, and hopefully not get to where my starters are tired. Like, as long as, because I'd like to keep them even more fresh. Like, I don't want them to get down to like the 20% stamina rating or whatever. I want them to always stay above that if possible. I mean, there's obviously going to be some guys that I'm leaning on a little bit harder, and I think Heavy Johnson probably will be one of those guys, but I might have Augie play first every 7th day or something, just to make sure that I'm getting him rest. And if that seems like it's not enough, I'll up it. But anyway, he's looking really good. Just that balance. Like, one thing, like the avoid Ks I've been looking for a lot with most of my guys. So if I can see that around 65, I'm happy. Okay, next is Fred Lynn, 1979. Amazing, picked him. Another guy that I've picked a lot because he usually tends to just last. And he had such an incredible season that year that it's kind of surprising to me that he doesn't go sooner. But you can see he's just got the really good balance on offense and really good defensive ratings. Like, I feel like his center field rating is like a little down from what these overall outfield ratings are. I feel like maybe like if you get him some starts in left or right in spring training, he could be an even better defensive player at one of those positions maybe. But just overall, really good pick, I think, by Amazing here. Especially, I mean, we're in round 20, so like with 16 teams and with, like however many keepers there were like at least like 40 keepers. So like, round 20, 16 teams, that's like 320 picks. Like, yeah, like, and we have 400 and some players in here. Obviously, we have multiple years of some guys, so that's 422 isn't exactly accurate, but all right, moving right along to Hanley Ramirez, 2009, selected by Pointy here. We are kind of cruising right along now. Sorry if I'm not spending too much time on each guy. I just, I've never done this for this long, so you do kind of you do find yourself being kind of repetitive when you're going over this many scouting reports, and they tend to look a little similar each time. But Hanley looking really good. I feel like as a backup infielder, backup shortstop, like, he's got good enough rating at shortstop that I feel like if you move him down the defensive ladder and played him at second or played him at third, that he'd have, good enough ratings to make that work. Especially looks like he'd be good at second with this nice turn double plays. stat, and he's got the speed, he's got the contact. Power's not amazing, but probably not what you're really looking for out of him. And at least, I mean, 55 power is nothing to sneeze at either, really. We've seen a lot of guys with this profile where that's way down here. But yeah, good pick with Hanley, I think. And Hanley, another guy that I really liked when he first came up. And I mean, he just was tearing it up from the start, right? So like whenever a young guy comes up and is amazing, it's easy to get sort of attached to those players. And then we've got Wang with Corbin Carroll taking one of his snakes here. Probably would have been on the board for a while longer, but I get not wanting to risk losing your guy. Like I took Julio a little earlier than I needed to as well for the probably exact same reason. Two players at similar stages of their careers who it's fun to get behind. And he's born in Seattle, so local boy. But yeah, the speed is what you'd expect. The offense is basically what you'd expect. Actually, really good pick, I think. Just the defense is kind of lacking, but I feel like Corbin's going to be in more of a bench role anyway. He can be a pinch runner. He can be a pinch hitter. He can do stuff for you off the bench and maybe filling in occasionally out and left. I do think the defense seems like it should be a bit better, but I haven't watched that many Snakes games, so I'm not sure if Corbin Carroll's really that good a defender, but it just seems like he's fast, you know. He should be good out there, but I don't know. Then we got Yak with Hoyt Wilhelm. Hoyt Wilhelm finally coming off the board in round 20. 1952 Wilhelm. Just a legendary reliever, right? Like I feel like the first legendary reliever. The numbers, I love it when you scroll down and it suddenly is like a better profile. It's like, oh wait, he does have two really good pitches with the curve and the knuckleball. And I feel like if you can find guys that have this kind of knuckleball that's like 60 or higher, that just seems to baffle guys in Fodeuss. I mean, at least it does for Toad Ramsey. There just aren't too many guys like this. He never ever did well for me, and I really wanted him to. Yeah, that does happen with guys, right? It's like they're such legends. Like I feel like that's happened with Nolan Ryan. He's like struggled in Fodeuss sometimes. Like it's like I'm hoping that switching the year actually turns out to be the key, because I picked him this year, but I used the year that nobody's ever used before. Which I think it was 87. It was like that year where he was like 9-15 or something. He had a terrible losing record, but he had like his lowest FIP and like a really good ERA, and you could see why people stayed away from it. But like I think might be the year. Hopefully it's the year. Anyway, moving along, we got Rick Sutcliffe drafted by Cubby here. And Sutcliffe looked pretty good, I think, if I remember correctly. I think I looked at this guy's. Yeah, it's another one of those where it's like it looks like this, and then you scroll it down, and it's like, oh, he's got two really good pitches. And this is the 84 Sutcliffe, which was his Cy Young season. One of those rare seasons where somebody gets traded mid-season and then wins the Cy Young award. But after he got traded to the Cubs, he was 16-1 with a 2.69 ERA in 150 innings. So it was enough. Like, he only lost one game. Like, he was the most... I remember, too, like, this was, like, when I first got into baseball. Was these years. Was Nolan Ryan sneaky good last year? Okay. He was on the worst team in the league, so nobody noticed. Okay. Oh, he was on Joe's team. All right, yeah. I remember now. Well, but I think he did pick one of the Angels seasons, so I don't know if that'll even matter this year. Hopefully he'll be good, though. His pitches looked amazing. Oh, yeah. Judge was kind of slept on, too. And, man, I put up another crazy year. You have Judge and Ohtani. You could keep them both and use their 24 seasons. Yeah, Aaron Judge is probably stuck on Pointy's team now. Oh, well. Okay, next is Sam McDowell, drafted by Sean here. And aside from the control, looking really good. If it wasn't for the control, he'd look great. I just think This might be a little like extreme, like for how bad the control is, but you know, 35 stamina from a reliever. Was he a reliever? Also the Cal McVeigh warning, injury proneness fragile. Is that the second time we've seen that? I probably didn't notice it on some of these other profiles, but I'm noticing it now on Sudden Sam here. Wait, what are we saying? Because Honus, DeGrom, Judge, Ohtani with 3 spots. Unless, well, yeah, it might be worth it. Yeah, we can associate Judge with steroids. Do it out of context and have fun with them. Yeah. Yeah, I might try to get Honus and DeGrom back. But I can't undo the trade because I gave away Bonds. I could give you Toad Ramsey. That's who I ended up getting for Bonds. No, yeah. I mean, that's when I had that conundrum. That was why I traded you Honus and DeGrom, was because of that same thing. Like, I have too many keepers. If I can just turn these 2 guys into Barry Bonds, and then I can slim down my. So that's another thing that you could consider, is trying to offer a trade in order to get. I mean, you could give up the first 2 picks though, right? Or you can give up 75, like your 75 NT dollars. No, I didn't. No, it was for Honus and DeGrom. Only for and even then I was just spitballing. I am not officially making that offer because I honestly don't know that would be a good trade. Especially since, well, I mean since we're past the keeper period, I guess you could do that now. I don't know. But no. I think I'm gonna hang on to Toad. I don't want to make a spur of the moment choice like that when I've had a couple beers. I gotta think about something as drastic as that. Man. But wait, what was I gonna say? Oh, I was thinking like with Ohtani, maybe you wouldn't have to keep him. I could see somebody taking him really early, but like, it's weird because he doesn't have the season where he's truly dominant both as a pitcher or a hitter. And like, he is gonna be, his 2024 season is probably gonna be his 2024 season is gonna probably be pretty dominant as a hitter, but without having any defense, like being basically limited to being a DH. I don't think anyone should draft him in the first couple rounds. So if you really wanted him, like, you could just make him your first pick and not have to give up your first 2 picks. But there is the risk that somebody will reach for him. I do think it would be a reach, though, to take him at the top of the first round. Personally, I mean, it's kind of like when DeGrom. I mean, I guess he is still pitching, but like I would keep DeGrom in the hopes that he would have an even more amazing season the next year. So somebody might reach for Ohtani, thinking like he's going to come back and pitch in 2025, and he's going to, have another 50-50 season on top of that. I could see that. I could see reaching for him if that was your thinking. I mean, because he still is in his prime, and that's another reason maybe to keep him. Yeah, that is a tough call. The more I think about it, I'd probably just give up the $75. That's because I do that every year, so that's what I'd do. But anyway, moving along, it's my pick here, though, the one I got from Minnesota, where I picked Paul Hines, and Paul Hines looks kind of ridiculous, especially for somebody picked in the 20th round. Like the defense and the speed and the it's everything. He's got the full package. I didn't know it would look quite this good in this import. It looked like this in my scouting report one, but then when I pulled it in here, it still looked amazing. So yeah. So I don't know how to use him though, right? Because I have Willie Mays. I'm not going to bench him. I'm thinking of actually doing a platoon. Because he bats right-handed. I was thinking of platooning him with Tommy Holmes, who was a lefty, in right field, playing him, and so getting him a bunch of starts against lefties in right, and then other than that, against righties, just using him as a kind of a backup to Willie and to Tommy. And it means that I'm gonna have to adjust a little bit. Like, I think I'm gonna start Orator Schaefer in the minors and have Bill Lang also on the big league squad, so Bill Lang could back up Willie Mays in the games where Paul Hines is starting in right, etc. There's like the musical chairs thing. Once you move one guy, you got to move every. Yeah, but but I am gonna move things. Someone tried to trade for this guy. I will. I'll give him to you for. I'll have to think about it. Make an offer. We gotta make an offer. Anyway, next we got John Hiller, 1973, and Hiller looking really good. I looked at him earlier. This was actually a steal of a pick. Like one of these relievers that's got the 35 stamina, and he's got 3 killer pitches, 2 elite pitches, and just great numbers all around. And this was who was this with? Oh, Yak. It was Yak with this pick. So like if the Hoyt Wilhelm pick doesn't work out very well, this was like a really good pick to balance that out, I think. Just could be one of the great. I know this guy ranks really high, like on the Bill James list of relievers, like or best relief pitcher seasons, which I think probably most people playing Fodeuss have looked at least once. But it's like Dick Raditz, John Hiller, like it's these guys who threw a lot of innings, like so they're like he's using a formula to create the score, and I think Eric Gagne, Dennis Eckersley, like some of those guys ranked pretty high, but like John Hiller and Dick Raditz like had the best seasons according to Bill James's formula. But anyway, Hiller looking really good. And then next we have another reliever. We got Tunes with Rob Dibble, which honestly is another guy that probably shouldn't have lasted this long. Like Rob Dibble, I think, was picked pretty early by Lloyd in previous seasons, and maybe he didn't perform that well. I don't know why, but like I don't know why he lasted this long this time, but he's got 2 just off the charts pitches, like and 90 stuff. So this is an awesome pick by Tunes. Tunes is going to have such an interesting team this year because he has made so many like sort of he sucked ass. Okay, that explains why he didn't get picked earlier. Maybe. I mean, for the people who are actually paying attention to that, at least. But still, like he is looking pretty good here. So we'll see. Like the 90 stuff is something we haven't seen too many times. But maybe he looks different in your imports as well. And you like the BABIP number and the control number aren't great, so you could see why he might struggle at least. But I'm hoping for Tunes to have some success this year because he has such a eclectic team of guys that he rooted for as a kid, and current Dodgers, and then a few like legit all-time greats. So we'll see. He was so bad he wouldn't make Sean's bullpen, but not so bad the 2024 Minnesota Twins wouldn't let him pitch in high leverage situations. Oh man, going for the jugular. taking out Sean and Minnesota both with one shot. Incredible. All right, we got Autumn with Mort Cooper next. And Mort looking really good. Mort was a guy I scouted. Like, I feel like some of these pitchers from the 20s and 30s are kind of slept on because they and this is 1942 Mort Cooper, but like early 40s as well. Like because there was such an offensive environment that like maybe their pitching stats don't look that incredible when you compare them to, Pedro or some, well, Pedro's a bad example because he was in an even crazier offensive environment. But like when you compare him to some of the dead ballers or whatever, who might have put up a, insane FIP or whatever, like they're being compared against a bunch of other guys who also put up stats like that. Whereas these guys who pitched in this heavier offensive era, like if they could just be that much better than their league, their stats might look a lot better than Mordecai Brown's or Ed Walsh or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, 4 really good pitches and really good numbers. Another good pick by Autumn. Like I said, I think Autumn is gonna have. I don't think he's gonna finish last. He's made some picks that I would question a little bit, but like overall, I feel like he's put together a way better team than he has before. And moving right along, speaking of Autumn, we've got one of his favorite players, but taken by Dark Lord of the Empire, Brian McCann, 2006 McCann. pretty early in his career. I think that's only like his second season. You know, like the defense, we have to remember this isn't like that much lower than the ceiling we've seen. So it's like, even though it looks kind of bad, and I'm thinking the same thing with like Jim O'Rourke, who I plan on using as a catcher. His catcher defense looked about the same as this. And the ratings might have been a little bit higher on the blocking and arm, but the framing was down. So, I mean, using this guy as a catcher, I can't frown on that when I'm trying to do the same thing with my backup catcher. And you got a guy that's a lefty and giving you pretty good offense. Like, you know, like for somebody with this defense, I would want a little bit more from the offense, but it's pretty good though. Like, I'm not shitting on it. So good pick by Dark Lord of the Empire. And then we got another catcher coming off the board, Sith Overlord with Adley Rutschman, 2022. And looking, I mean, the offense is awesome for a catcher. And the defense is basically the same as McCann's or O'Rourke's, or like, you know, a bunch of the guys we're seeing here. So, and he can place them first too with pretty decent defense. So you have multiple options there with him. If he's really shitting the bed as your catcher, you can at least get him in the lineup a different way, because he does have offensive numbers that seem like it would be worth it to try to get in there. The power's a little down, but like the gap power, the eye, avoid K's, contact, all in the turquoise. So I think Adley is a really good pick, and I completely slept on him. I didn't have him scouted at all. It's funny, I know so much more about baseball from like the 1880s than I do from the 2020s. I mean, I'm definitely like, the last 4 Mariners seasons have got me fully more invested in their seasons, but I don't play regular fantasy baseball, so I don't follow all the other teams that closely. I know the guys, I know most of the guys because the Mariners play every team now, so you get to see them at least a few games every year, and I watch almost every, you know, maybe not almost every Mariners game, but over 100 of the 162 for sure. So I'm familiar with the rest of the league, but I don't follow it that closely. Not like when I was in the early 2000s, I was way into fantasy, and I feel like I knew every player on every team. But if you're not into fantasy and you mostly just follow your own team, kind of hard to know everybody. I mean, I knew who Adley Rutschman was, obviously, but I wouldn't have thought to draft him. Turns out to be a pretty good pick. All right, one more, and then we're going to take one last break before we wrap it up with the last 2 rounds. This is Jedi Marine taking Kirby Puckett. Minnesota, I'm surprised you didn't take this guy. Surprised he was still here. That Shane Mack, that you took Shane Mack before you took Kirby Puckett. Although Shane Mack's numbers might have looked better than this, so it might have been the right pick. But you just, like, I mean, you'd think that Kirby would be amazing. And this is his 1988 season, which I think was pretty clearly the best season for him. As at least going by OPS plus and stuff. Let me look him up again really quick. Yeah, 88. He had the 153 OPS plus. Led the majors with 358 total bases. Led the majors in hits. Hit 356. Didn't walk a lot. Like, so this eye thing makes a lot of sense. But other than that, I mean, he was a beast. But like, let's compare him to Shane Mack really quick. I'm just curious. Because I think Shane Mack actually might have been the better pick, which is it's just kind of crazy to me, because you think, you know, Kirby Puckett is the Hall of Famer. No, I think Kirby was the better pick, but I mean, Kirby might have been a little bit before your time. I don't know how old you are. For me, like, Kirby Puckett was such a favorite when I was a kid. Like, another one of those guys that wasn't on my team, but you just loved to watch him play. Just like he was like a Charles Barkley of baseball to me. And Charles Barkley was one of my favorite basketball players at the same time. So anyway, that's going to do it for those 2 rounds. We are just cruising right along. We only have rounds 21 and 22 to go today, because I didn't import anything beyond that. If I would have known we were going to get through it kind of quick, we might have gone a little further, but we're going to wrap it up when we get through these rounds. We got a Jedi Marine kicking off the next round, and we will get to who he picked as soon as we come back from this brief break. All right, see you guys in a bit.
But no, that does not apply to saving throws. If you're playing with teeth, then it's best not to have an attitude, cause I'm the dungeon master. I control every latitude from here to there, to the monsters you meet, all the items that you find and the people you greet. I got elves and gnomes, I got blacksmiths and mariners. In fact, I've got infinite unplayable characters. I'm a madman with some dice in my hands. Just let me flip through my books, then my devices and plans will start to take shape like the formation of lands. I'll turn this dungeon into a nation of man. You'll see visions through etherealize, you'll see spirits as they materialize, and pretty soon you'll start blurring the lines between reality and fantasy, the earth in your mind. Come on, game with me, but you better have a strong spine. I'll get you hooked like EverQuest Online. Increasing your experience will take a long time, start to get delirious. Now make a song mine. Game with me, but you better have a strong spine. I'll get you hooked like EverQuest Online. Increasing your experience will take a long time, start to get delirious. Now make a song mine. Do I make it mine? Wait, let me roll the 20-sided. Ouch, I rolled the 20. I don't know if you will survive it. That's why you don't give the DMB. I just killed the character you've had for 15 years, and now you see clear. Finally awakened to the years of your life I've taken. Yes, I'm making it mine, like this song. Straighten your spine. It's not that strong, you gotta build it up like your wizard or your paladin. Armies of orcs that I'm sending at the battlement. Handle them easily, you might. It just depends on how lucky you be rolling tonight. Do you flee or fight? Now that's up to you. But this troll's got an enchanted club +2. Oh, and also first attack, so get ready to defend. You might be rolling up another one tonight, my friend. I was 12 years old playing Dungeons and Dragons, and I was the one. Strong spine, I'll get you hooked like EverQuest Online. Increasing your experience will take a long time, start to get delirious. Now make a song mine. Game with me, but you better have a strong spine. I'll get you hooked like EverQuest Online. Increasing your experience will take a long time, start to get delirious. Now make a song mine.
Okay, we're back. Welcome back. Now we're going to get to the end. Round 21, starting off with Mr. Smile, Francisco Lindor. So let's look at him really quick. And looking pretty solid, I would say. At least, I mean, you're getting this really good defense at short. Again, this was one where I think I went with 2018 because Jedi Marine didn't pick a year here. Let's look really quick. Yeah, 2018, he had the 132 OPS plus. He had 25 steals, was only caught twice, so the speed is pretty good. The avoid Ks is amazing. He struck out 107 times, but in the environment of 2018, that wasn't a ton, especially since he led the league with 745 plate appearances. He only walked 70 times, so the eye isn't that amazing. And he only hit 277, which is fine, but like compared to some of the historical greats that we're comparing him against, that's why this BABIP number is a little bit down. But as a utility infielder, which is what I think you're going for at this point in the draft, Francisco Lindor is great, I think, especially because he has this great defense and the amazing turn double plays. He could be good at second for sure. So yeah, good pick by Jedi Marine to kick off round 21. And let's look at the next one. Okay, we got Cristobal Torriente, who was another guy that just like, it's like Chino Smith kind of. He had that like a crazy season, I think. We have to look him up in here though. I don't have. Oh, I spelled his name wrong. Crostobal. I put. Okay. Cristobal. Wait. Okay, I'm just gonna type Torriente. That should come up. Okay, there he is. Oh, I see, because it's got the accent. Anyway, and this is the 1920 season in which, his rookie season, he hit .411 with a 223 OPS plus, 1,085 OPS, 9 homers in only 66 games, or no, 2 homers, 21 doubles though in only 66 games. So a lot of gap power, I'm gonna guess, coming out of him. In 1920, like the 2 homers, that's like right when homers are taking off. So he's not gonna have a lot of power probably. Led the league in naps. Is that the case for Cristobal? Did you import him already? I wish we could see the actual imports. For Lindor. That was for Lindor. Oh, it says diplomatic here, though. Wasn't it Ken Griffey Jr. who actually fell asleep during the game in the clubhouse in his last season, and then he was like, okay, time to retire. But you're not going to draft Ken Griffey Jr.'s last season. All right, next we have Paul Wainer, 1927. He took a nap during... Well, I mean, you got to be well rested, and you don't know how long a rain delay is going to go on. I don't blame him at all. I love that he's that calm, though, during Game 7 of the World Series, that he can take a nap. Okay, so Paul Wainer was another guy that I definitely had highly considered for the Tommy Holmes spot in my outfield, that right field spot. When we look at his stats, we'll see that the contact is just insane. Absolutely insane. And really good defense in right, too. I think better than Tommy Holmes. Tommy just had a little bit more balance down here, with the power and stuff, and especially the eye. But he had the insane avoid Ks, 85 avoid Ks. So it was a tough call. But once I moved off of Wainer, I just kind of didn't consider drafting him again. He's somebody I feel like you want him to be a starter. But if you're picking up a guy that's starter level in the 21st round, then that's great. And I don't know if Dark Lord of the Empire wants to use him as a starter, but if he's having any trouble with his corner outfield spots, he can definitely squeeze Wainer in there later. Great pick, I think. Big Poison too. What a good nickname. And then next we have Larry Doyle from 1912, drafted by Autumn. Autumn getting a little obscure here, although Larry Doyle won the MVP in 1912, so he's not super obscure or anything. Oh yeah, I put in his 1911 season as well, because that looked really good to me when I was just looking at him, but 1912 does turn out to be the year. And what a great pick for Autumn. Just this really good balance of contact and power coming from your second baseman, but the defense is not great, we have to admit. But he does turn a double play. He just has no arm, no range. But he has speed combined with this offense, so I feel like you could find a place to play him. You could even play this guy at first base with this power, and probably get away with these defensive ratings a lot better. But a really good pick by Autumn. One of his better picks, and a real steal in round 21. And then we have Tunes picking another fun 90s Well, they were called the Indians then, of course, but we call them the Guardians now. A fun 90s Guardian with Carlos Baerga. 1993 version, or vintage, as Toons would say, 1993 vintage. And, you know, like pretty decent defense at second base. Not the worst. Not going to kill you there. And the really good contact numbers. He's just not going to give you much power. He's going to give you okay speed. But a good pick by Toons, actually. And Carlos Baerga, another guy that I really liked at the time. So fun, you know, just what a fun team for Toons. I mean, he might finish in last. It's possible. But if he does, he'll go down having a good time, hopefully. Jose Valverde, taken by Yak here. We got another relief pitcher coming off the board. We got 2011 Valverde. And looking pretty good. Like these, yeah, the movement numbers combined with the decent stuff. Like the movement I really like. The control is a little down, but and he's only got the 2 pitches, but at least they're both pretty good. The splitter is pretty nasty. So I think Valverde is a pretty good pick here. He's still only got that 25 stamina, but you're just hoping, you know, that he gets a few outs for you. You don't need him to last more than 1 inning, so pretty good pick by Yak, I would say. Not as good as John Hiller, but he's building his pen, though. The pen is coming together. And, you know, you can use this guy in lower leverage situations when you have somebody like Hiller for the higher leverage. So, good pick. And then we got Lave Cross taken by Minnesota here. And I thought Lave would be a little bit closer to like a Denny Lyons kind of numbers, but like they aren't that level. But I mean, not a bad pick by any means. He's got this great contact. He's got the good BABIP and just not going to strike out. And the defense, I mean, I was surprised by this catcher defense. That kind of makes the whole pick a lot more worth it. I don't know if Minnesota was looking at it this way, but this has obviously got to be the 1894 version, and he has this good catcher defense. Let's look at the ratings really quick, just so we can see his actual catcher ratings. 60 framing, 50 arm, 50, and 55 blocking. So really decent, like way better than my backup catcher. So if you're using this guy as your backup catcher, I don't know if that's what your plan is, but might be the best plan. Like he might be really valuable in that role, because this offense for my catcher all of a sudden changes my perspective on this guy completely. Whereas I'd mostly just thought of him as a third baseman, and like honestly pretty good there too. So could be used in either role. What's going on in the game, Inti? Yeah, I agree with your sentiment though of fuck the Astros 100%. But I'm just are they crushing your guys? We took 2 out of 3, but it didn't matter. We needed to sweep, and even if we swept, both the Royals and Tigers swept their series, so we'd still have a very, very slim chance even if we had swept. Guardians are down 4-3. If they win, they're still alive to get the number 1 seed. Oh, okay. What inning? I feel like you can get to the Astros pen. It's not as dominant as it's been in previous years. At least in the 9th. Oh, okay. That's not giving yourselves too many outs to work with, but hopefully you guys can pull it out, because yeah, fuck those guys. Oh, Josh Gibson is your backup catcher / DH, but having a guy that I can use in the infield and as a catcher if somebody goes down with something. Yeah, totally. Like I picked Jack Clements coming right up here in this round, and I plan on starting him in the minors, but just to have that backup catcher just in case something happens. That's kind of like, he's like the third catcher kind of on my depth chart basically, but like I really wanted to get him before I even finished out my pitching staff, because like the numbers look crazy, and like if Bill Dickey, God forbid, if he gets hurt, I have somebody who basically, you know, does the same thing that I can fit right in. Yeah, if you don't have 3 catchers you can trust in Fodeuss, you're tempting fate. I totally agree. let's go. Okay, Rap Dixon is the next pick. Let's just look him up really quick. Looks like RX here. 1929 Rap Dixon. You never want to go full DP for him. Yeah, that is so true in so many ways. 1929 Rap Dixon hit 415. Wow, 16 homers in only 76 games, 92 RBIs in only 76 games, a 1204 OPS. He actually had a higher OPS plus the previous season with a 200, 190 in 1929, but this looks like it should be a great pick for, you know, like a backup outfielder, or like, God, it just feels like some of these guys could be starters. I mean, RX was the one who made the comment in the thread that even as you get this deep in the draft, there are so many good players left. Like, it's crazy. Like, you can just basically build your team however you want, and that makes it more fun. And then we got Cubby with Charlie Holliker. Was this one of the picks that somebody made for Cubby? Is it like Charlie Holliker 1922? Feels like kind of an obscure guy for Cubby to take. Oh, you picked this one. Okay. And how did he look? I forget. Oh, he looks pretty good. Wow, the avoid Ks is off the charts. Cubs. Oh, yeah, the Cubs season leader in caught stealing. That's right. He got caught stealing 29 times or something and only had like 20 successful steals. So you see, like, the aggressiveness is way up there, but the ability, like, not so much. Although, like, you'd think the ability would be even a little bit lower. Like, this is actually not a bad pick if that was your sole reasoning for picking him. Like, he's okay at shortstop, and he's not going to strike out, like, and he's going to put the ball in play and get some hits, like, and you know, he's very aggressive. Good pick. NT picking for Cubman while he was on a cruise. And then Jason Kendall, 1999. Looks like Sean probably getting his backup catcher here. Or I'm not sure if you already have two catchers. But Kendall looking really good. And like the defense looking really solid compared, you know, with this, keeping in mind that we've seen that ceiling kind of right around 65, and just the contact really good, and speed for a catcher, especially for a more modern catcher. Like, we don't see this very much anymore. Like, some of the guys like from the 1800s, Buck Ewing or King Kelly or whatever, might have like the 80 speed, but not happening too much now unless you took like a Craig Biggio catcher season or something. But I don't, you know, his best seasons came as a second baseman, so you probably wouldn't want to do that. Then we got Oyster Burns, 1887, taken by Wang. Oyster Burns drafted pretty much every year. Great pick. Just, you know, so many of these 1800s guys. I've leaned on it really heavily this draft because they just, you know, I'm using the game to scout them, and they just keep looking great compared to some of the later guys. So what are you going to do? He's got some versatility. He can play left field. He can play third. He can play short. His infield ratings are pretty good, like not elite, but good enough. He's got the crazy speed and the real balanced attack on offense. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking for a utility guy in this point of the draft, like that's a good pick, because of the, you know, like what I've been doing is finding guys that play shortstop or that play center field, and just kind of extrapolating that I'll be able to use them at other positions because they have the good ratings and because they're going down the defensive ladder. If you're playing a center fielder in left or in right, or if you're playing a shortstop at second or third, like I'm hoping I can get away with that. But having the actual ratings at the position is helpful, I think, because you're like going into the spring training, you already know they can play there, and you don't have to like get them reps or whatever. Anyway, moving on, we got Pointy with Keith Folk, 2003, filling out the bullpen here. And looking really good. 3 really good pitches, 2 turquoise, 1 green, like, and just no holes. And the 30 stamina, which is nice to have, I think, compared to the 25. I really don't know how much of a difference that makes, having just the 5 higher, but I mean, I feel like with bullpen guys, you want to be able to use them multiple days in a row if they're pitching well for you, and having that 25 stamina just seems like a little bit of a hindrance. But yeah, good pick by Pointy. And we will move on to, Hardy Richardson. So Lloyd has got basically all Negro League pitchers and then like all 1880s, 1870s hitters. It feels like it's kind of an interesting makeup of the team. It's like all white guys coming straight out of the Civil War on offense, and then all black guys who weren't allowed to play because of racism pitching. But let's look at Hardy. You know what? He's going to be 5 stars because he was picked by Lloyd, and he knows what he's doing. But again, like looking at probably a utility guy, he's got ratings in the infield and the outfield, can do a lot. He's got the crazy contact. He's got the crazy speed. Old True Blue. He couldn't care less about personal awards either. So like, I mean, I don't know if that's going to translate into NT's report, but you're going to want to have guys like that when you're asking them to play a bench role, which I'm guessing Hardy will. Moving on to the last pick of round 21, and then we only got 1 round left to go. It's Sean picking Kevin Apier, who was referenced in the thread much earlier as someone who would, a scouting report had been requested. And he was mentioned because of his variety of pitches, the 6 pitches, and they are all really good. The fastball, the weakest one, but with all that variety of off-speed stuff, he could be pretty nasty, I think, for Sean. And the great movement, especially the home run allowed movement. Thank you, no Sarah's coming to Twitch. Anyway, looking really good. I especially love the movement, and like this, I just love this top half. Like if you look at the pitches, the variety is nice. Only the forkball looks to be, somewhat elite, but I think these numbers are what are going to carry you through with Apier, and I'm hoping he'll have a good year. Somebody, I think Pointy said that he's drafted him before, but I don't remember seeing any like results from him in Fodeuss, so that'll be interesting to see. And then we got Heels with Trey Turner kicking off. So Sean traded for that last pick from Heels, and now kicking off round 22, we have Heels with Trey Turner. And Heels didn't pick a year here, so I think I went with, doesn't say, age 27 season. I believe this is the 2021 Trey Turner year. It was just like highest OPS plus, etc. I think 2020 actually has higher numbers, like rate numbers, so you might look at that. We could look at it right now, actually. Let me look at him really quick. Yeah, 2021, he won the batting title. He led the major leagues with a 328 average and had a 145 OPS plus. In 2020, he had a 162 OPS plus, though. So let's look at that year really quick, just because I kind of tend to ignore the 2020 season and pretend it never happened. The Mariners were terrible that year as well. Maybe that's part of it. But let's just see. I'm just curious. And we are in the last round, and we're making good time. We're going to get it way under 4 hours. Unless I go off on some insane tangent. Yeah, that's what I've noticed in mine as well, NT. The batters seem to do better, the pitchers not so much. So here's that 2020 year though. It's same number of stars. I like the defense better, and like it looks like the offense what are you losing compared to the other one? Losing just a little bit of the contact, but the power is a little better, and the defense is better. So I actually think in this case, the 2020 season does look like the way to go if you're watching this heels. But, you know, get the reports from Inti. I have to say it every time because you never know. Although I will note that when I do sims with 2020 batters, injuries are more likely. Okay, that is good to know. I'm probably not going to draft any, but for everybody else watching this, that's what Inti just said. Okay, let's go along to second pick, Mike Donlin. Another crazy pick from Lloyd here. Mike Donlin, 2005. Who fucking knew? This guy rakes. Lloyd knew. That's who knew. And, you know, really good defense in the outfield for the most part. Might make some errors, but it has the good range, good enough arm, really good in left field, and just the crazy overall balance of offense. Yeah. Once again, Lloyd is just going to be loaded. He's, you know, I hate to say it, he's probably the favorite though, going into the season, like the power rankings. I think I'm up there. I think Minnesota is definitely up there. I think Wang is like probably flying a little under the radar and is also way up there. That might be the top 4. I'd have to look again at the rosters and stuff, but who else has those are probably the most. Heels is the defending champ though, and Pointy and Amazing also having really good drafts, I would say. I'd say there's probably like 8 candidates, and Sean too. Actually, I keep sleeping on Sean because he missed so many rounds at the beginning, but he has done a really good job of balancing out his team since he got back in, and the guys that he forfeited all those picks in order to keep are all really good too. So Sean is easy to overlook because of he just wasn't there for those early rounds when a lot of the big names were coming off the board, but he's definitely made up for that, I think. So I'd say at least half the league has a chance to win this year. And the other teams should be a lot of fun. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Autumn. Honestly, I just feel like, I don't know, like, I feel like Autumn might end up being kind of more around 500 just because I feel like he's had a few picks that were misses for me. But you might be right, though. And he's actually nailed it on a few of the pitchers, too, which I feel like was his big bugaboo, like the last time he played, is just he didn't know what to look for on pitchers. And I don't know, I feel like he's adjusted quite a bit. Maybe he's, you know, watching these videos and just kind of paying attention to what's worked in the past seasons, maybe. But I do think he's doing a lot better in that regard. And honestly, I probably wouldn't have picked Heels last year, and he kind of came out of nowhere. So I could be totally off on who's going to succeed this year. I hope that I'll at least be in the playoff hunt. That's, you know, I think I missed the playoffs twice, but I got eliminated on the last day of the season both times. So if that happens again, you know, like once it gets to the playoffs, I realize it's a crapshoot. If I don't win, I don't get too down about it, but I would like to have another successful regular season. Of course, we killed it last year in the regular season until we ran into Heels in the playoffs. All right, now it's time for Banlingo Mungo. Such a catchy tune. And the stats look pretty damn good. I don't know if they'll look like this in Inti's import, but I had this guy circled as someone to draft for my bullpen way early in the draft, but I just knew I could hold off for a while. Again, this is another guy who pitched in the 30s, I think. This is his 1936 season, which I think pitchers just kind of go overlooked because they didn't put up the top ERA of all time or the top FIP of all time. But compared to their league, you know, compared to his league, Van Mungo had an incredible, you know, couple seasons in a row. I think he made 4 straight all-star teams. He does have a little bit of problem with the control, but everything else, I think that he'll make a really good reliever. And another guy that if I need to slot somebody else into the rotation because of an injury or somebody struggling, this could be an option there too, especially with the 80 stamina. Yeah, in-game pandemic might be the only way I can win, right? So this is draft 7. I've made the playoffs so we've had 6 drafts. I made the playoffs 4 times. Got eliminated on the last day of the season twice. Made the World Series twice. Lost both times and lost in the playoffs twice. So, I don't know. I feel like I'm due. Yeah, he's the Shockmaster. Yeah, Van Mungo. Come on. He's awesome. David Wright, 2007. We're at the point where I didn't look at some of these reports. I was just trying to get them imported as fast as I could, so I just would go right on to the next one without looking at some of them. So these will be the first time I looked at some of these. And it looks like I actually skipped David Wright, so let's get him really quick. Memo to future NT. Reference Van Mungo entering the game and tripping on the wall coming out of the bullpen on NT Center. Yes. That would be amazing. Okay, here comes David Wright. Is that David Wright's music? Indeed. Indeed it is. And looking really balanced. Yeah, this is the first time I've looked at this report. Like, looks like a really good pick by Amazing here. See, you got. I wasn't sure if it was Amazing or Pointy. We have back-to-back Mets fans in the draft here, but I mean, this is a good pick, even if you're not a Mets fan. It might have been kind of a homer pick, but his defense at third looks solid enough, and like the base running looks good, and the offense very balanced. So really good pick. Good job, Amazing. And then we have Pointy with R.A. Dickey. And I just wish that R.A. Dickey had a knuckleball. Didn't he throw a knuckleball? Maybe he didn't throw it in 2012. I don't know why this looks like it does, but it just feels like there's a knuckleball missing, right? Like that should be awesome. Is this the year he won the Cy Young Award? I'm gonna look. Hey, what's up, Space? Welcome in. Not much. I'm breaking down the draft picks from my fantasy baseball draft. Fodeuss, the Field of Dreams expanded universe starring Shaq. And we are going through each of the picks from rounds 15 through 22. I did rounds 1 through 14 exclusively on YouTube, but I just felt like I got so far behind. I was doing 2 rounds per video that I got so far behind that the only way I could get through the rest of it is to do it in a live stream. But we're almost at the end of the stream because we're just going through round 22, and we're in round 22 right now. Yeah, join the league. It's pretty fucking fun. Like you draft players from any era of baseball, any player ever, and then once everybody has their team, we simulate a whole season and out of the park baseball, and it's actually really fun. And if you go to my YouTube channel, it's called Slow T. Here, I'll just type it in the chat because it's spelled kind of weird, but that's where you can see the previous videos. I hadn't been. I only started doing it for the draft this year. I just thought it would be fun to look at the way that the players looked in my version of Out of the Park. And Inti up there, he's the commissioner of our league, and we're gonna play the game in his version, and it's gonna, like, the players are gonna look a bit different, but we're just looking at what my scouts are saying about these guys anyway. And yeah, like I said, we're almost at the end. But I was just looking at R.A. Dickey. 2012, yeah, the Cy Young award-winning season. You just think the stats would look a little bit better, but they don't. But, you know, what are you going to do? At least he's not one of your first pitchers drafted. And maybe he'll end up being kind of decent. At least, you know, the numbers didn't look absolutely ass. All right, and then Wang with Brett Saberhagen, the 6th pick of round 22. But how have you been, Space? It's good to see you in here. I've seen that you've been streaming a few times, and I left a lurk a few times. I just haven't been able to watch. I've been kind of busy lately, unfortunately, but I saw you were doing some civilization achievement hunting. Yeah, just doing stuff. That's fun. Yeah, it looks fun. I lurked a bit, but I hate popping into a stream and saying hi and then leaving. I feel like some people probably appreciate that more than not saying anything, but but I feel weird about it personally. Gonna get Civ 7 in February. Nice. Okay, Brett Saberhagen. Sorry, we're still doing stuff here. Still looking at players. There he is. And Saberhagen looking really good, I would say. Well, maybe not really good, but looking decent enough with the great control and the good movement. Like one of those profiles, like where it's like you're relying on control and movement. You're not worried so much about having elite pitches or elite stuff because you can rely on these stats to carry you through, I think. So I think Saberhagen's a pretty good pick here. He's got the good stamina. He's really good at holding runners. We've seen this from a few righties. And I wonder if that, it must be based in their real life stats, but it's kind of amazing. And so, yeah, a good pick by Wang there. And then we've got, this is the pick that DP made for Cubby when Cubby was on the cruise, which is Jocko Flynn, a one-year wonder from 1886. It couldn't be more on brand for DP, honestly. Plus, he was a historical Cub, so he was actually trying to look out for Cubman's favorite team. Yeah, another laser to the gap, another Jocko. But a pitcher Jocko. And the numbers look pretty good, right? I mean, it's like, this is a guy you could use in your pen or whatever. He's got the good enough movement and control with the good pitches. Yeah, it looks like, he could honestly be pretty solid. I like that people picked guys for Cubman that he could actually use, but that weren't like the craziest guys ever. I was really worried that DP was gonna, because he said, I'm gonna pick a guy that's a historical Cub, but I need a minute or whatever. Oh yeah, we won't get to Joe Buck tonight. But I was really worried when he said that he was gonna pick Bill Lang, because DP made me give him Bill Lang in the trade for George Brett last year. Even though I really didn't want to give him up. He'd only ever been on my team before. And now I was like, if you fucking take Bill Lang, I'm actually going to be pissed right now. Because Cubman would never take him. Nobody else is going to take him. He's only on my radar, probably, and DP's radar, is what I was thinking. But thankfully, he took this guy, which is even way more obscure. And I did end up getting Bill Lang eventually. So all's well that ends well. All right, moving right along. Oh, I think I skipped Jorge Posada. Did I skip over Jorge Posada? I think I did, yeah. We went from Brett Saberhagen to Jocko Flynn, so we skipped Jorge. This was Heel's pick that he got in a trade with Sean. And Jorge looking really solid for a catcher. Like, just this kind of offense you don't... Oh, welcome home, Uncle Kev Dog. I'm glad you're back. I guess this is when we have to restart the entire stream from the beginning. Kev said we had to. Okay, so let's go back to the start of round 15. No, I'm just kidding. I can't do it. There's no possible way that I could talk for 3 more hours. My voice has had it already. But we are looking at Jorge Posada here. So you joined at a good time. If we started over, you'd have to wait 3 hours for the Jorge Posada part. This way, you just jump right into it. But yeah, he looks really good. He's got really good offense for a catcher, and defense that I think we've come to learn is going to have to be adequate from your catcher. We're just not going to see those 75, 80 defensive ratings. So 40, it's not great, but it's not the end of the world, I think, especially from your backup catcher. So good pick by Heels. And then we have RX finally taking Willie McCovey. Willie McCovey, who was drafted by Sean in the first round last year, lasted until round 22, because he did kind of fall on his face last year, I think. But he still looks really good. The numbers look really good. You know, I would like to, like I've said before, I'd like to see it kind of flip-flop for my personal preference, where the contact is higher and the power's a little bit down. But, I mean, like this guy could just be in the middle of your lineup mashing, it feels like, and you get him in round 22. It's kind of a steal. Hopefully. Like, he might fall on his face again, though. Like, the historical precedent from the previous seasons does matter, at least a little bit. This beat is crazy. What is this song? Fuddlin'. Then next we have Akinori Atsuka. Am I saying that right? Minnesota, are you still here? Yeah, he was on my radar too. And I was thinking of picking him, but then I just, you know, I ended up going with Augie Galan instead, and so I had my left-handed backup first baseman to kind of balance out Heavy Johnson, and then I just didn't value having a third first baseman after that. So I took him off the radar at that point. But he was definitely in consideration when I made the Augie Galan pick. I was thinking of McCovey there for sure. But here's Atsuka. If I'm saying that right. I'm probably butchering it completely, but that's fine. And he's looking really good. Like the crazy home run allowed stat. I love that. You love to see something like that. We haven't seen too many of those. Like up in the dark blue, up all the way to 80 even. Like we've been seeing more of that with the stuff, and sometimes with the control, and sometimes even with the BABIP allowed, but like with the home run allowed, that's really, really nice. I think this is one of those guys who's just going to be relying on this great movement to get outs. The pitches don't look spectacular, but that one number certainly does. So another good addition to Minnesota's bullpen. A guy that, have I ever heard of him? I don't even know if I've ever heard of him. 2006 was a dark time in Mariners history, and I kind of fell out of baseball for a little while. Yeah, you've got a lot of guys in those spots. Yeah, so you don't, I don't know. Yeah, at that point, it's like, I mean, I've already got like, I think 7 outfielders, so it's like, I really don't need any more outfielders, even though there's still great guys on the board, you know. It's like you just get to that point with it. All right, then we got Liam Hendricks, 2020. Yak going with another 2020 pitcher even. Like, Yak is leaning heavily into this 2020 thing, and it might backfire a bit, especially with the pitchers, but he, you know, these pitchers also have other years. He could switch the year. And actually, Liam Hendricks looking really good here. And I don't know that it'll translate this way in Inti's import, because, you know, he did mention that he, you know, and I do quickly notice the fragile injury proneness, and that might be the thing that bites him more than the ratings, because the ratings look amazing, but if he gets hurt, they're not helpful at all. So we'll see what happens with this pick, but I mean, at least these ratings look crazy. The control combined with these 3 pitches and really good everything, like, yeah, that might actually turn out to be a great pick, although he might not look that way in Inti's import. Did Yak have Australia in the World Baseball Classic? Is that why he was like, oh, Liam Hendricks? Maybe he did well for him there. I don't know. And then we've got Ron Say, selected by Tunes, of course. A classic Dodger. A little bit before Tunes' time, I would think. You know, 1977 Ron Say, but he does have good defense at third, and he does have some power and a good eye. Like, I mean, I think there's a lot to like here. It would be a guy that I would avoid because of these contact numbers, but he might come through. He does have the power and the eye and the D, so we'll see what happens there. And then we've got Autumn with Roy Face. Was Roy Face the guy that was like 19-1 in relief or something? Like he was, yeah, like he had some crazy relief pitcher season where he just like won every time they brought him in the game. They would come back and win. 18-1, yeah, 18-1 with a 2.70 ERA and a 2.60 FIP. So when I looked up Roy Face, I also noticed there was a guy who only played in one game, and his name on Baseball Reference is just Face. Just Face. One word. But Roy Face maybe not looking the best here. The control is really good. The home runs allowed is not bad. The stuff is not bad. Like, Roy Face off. I want to take his Roy Face off. See, this might be another one of the picks that Autumn kind of missed on, possibly. I mean, if my ratings are anywhere close to Inti's, but I do think he's had enough good picks to make up for these kind of missteps. And he's only had a few of them, so I just wouldn't like lean on this guy to pitch a lot in high leverage spots probably, but he could probably fill a role in the bullpen and not hurt you too much, especially if he's kind of more of a mop-up guy. And you gotta have guys like that. Yeah, he needs to have Nick Cage as his profile picture. Please do that. Most likely to lead honk ball in saves. Yeah, that seems accurate. Joakim Soria, drafted by Dark Lord of the Empire here. Got 2008 Soria. As we come down to the end of round 22 here, we only have 2 more picks after this. Where is he? Oh, there he is. Oh, and he's looking really good. Wow. Yeah. I mean, and you even get the 30 stamina, which I keep mentioning, something I'm looking for in these bullpen guys, even though I'm not drafting any of them. But when I'm looking at other people's teams, I just tend to get a little bit more scared if they got the 30 compared to the 25. And just, yeah, everything looking really good. The control even is fine. Like, that's not bad at all. And then 2 like elite pitches, and then backed up by 3 really good pitches. He's got 5 pitches. Yeah, I think Soria is a great pick by Dark Lord of the Empire there. And then we have Sith Overlord with Newt Allen. We'll have to look him up. Oops. Oh no, I clicked away from the list. Luckily we only have 1 more pick left. I think I can get back there. Okay, I'm back there. So let's look up Newt Allen in Baseball Reference. And he picked, looks like 1929 Newt. So in 1929, Newt Allen hit 332, had 127 OPS plus. He looks like he had a much better season in 1930. You might consider looking at both. Not much better. I mean, he was great in 1929, but in 1930, he hit 363 with a 140 OPS plus. Anyway, something to look at maybe, but probably going to turn out to be a really good pick. It does look like in 29 he had more gap power and maybe more speed as well. So yeah, I can see why you'd go with 29 there. WAR is about the same. I don't know. Either one could be good. And now here we are, the last pick that we're going to go over tonight. I really appreciate everybody being here. The last pick is Jedi Marine with Rob Nin. And perhaps next Saturday we'll go over the next 8 rounds. We should be through round 30 by then, so it might work out just perfect. We might just have to go through all, I mean, if we can, we might just wait because there's only 32 rounds total and we could go through all 10. I feel like I could get through 10 rounds in 4 hours after doing this, and you know, we're coming up a little bit short of that this time. But anyway, who were we looking at? Oh yeah, Rob Nin. Throwback to the baseball draft when someone drafted Rob Nin and Heels thought it was someone drafting Rod Beck and almost lost his mind. Yeah. It's those, you know, 2 single-syllable names, and if it starts with a raw sound, I get it, I guess. Easy to confuse the 2. Yeah. But Rob Nin, Jedi Marine didn't pick a year here, so I went with his age 30 season, I guess, which was, let me look really quick. Yeah. Yeah, not compared to me either, NT. Age 30 season looks like it was his year 2000 season, which makes sense. He was 4-3, 1.5 ERA, 41 saves, 2.09 FIP, 0.848 WHIP. Like he was, yeah, and 12.5 Ks per 9. So like these, yeah, the stuff number, these 4 pitches. Rob Nin, a really good pick by Jedi Marine, and a good one to close out the draft with, or to close out this breakdown with, I should say. We have not closed out the draft just yet. I think we'll be back most likely next Saturday with more breakdowns. Hopefully, I kind of would like to do this live again. I'm sure I could make it less clumsy and awkward, but it would be fun to do. And it'll probably be even more clumsy and awkward. You were eating in the same restaurant as Rob Nin? That's amazing. See, what a small world. We're bringing everything together. He likes barbecue? Hell yeah. Should we find somebody to raid? Who's online? Is there anybody online? Let's look. It would be a better story if it was Rod Beck. Yeah, that's true. But, I mean, they can't all be Rod Beck. Let's find somebody to raid. We got Blender Destroyer doing a Maggie Smith tribute. We've got, maybe we should look for another Out of the Park. Because most of the people here are the Out of the Park raiders who are still just like lurking or hanging around. So maybe we should see who's playing Out of the Park baseball right now, and pay it forward because we got the big raid from the. Oh, Necromancer Ellie is always a good choice, but I might just try to find another Out of the Park channel that's got small viewers. This one, oh man, there's only one other. Okay, well, we're gonna raid Ellie then. All right, is she's on? Yeah, I see her on there. Okay, let's do it. We're gonna raid Necromancer Ellie. Thanks again for being here, everybody. I really appreciate it. I gotta remember how to do this. It's been so long. Oh wow, this whole interface has changed. I should just do the command in chat, but here we go. Yeah, thanks for being here, everybody. Yeah, we'll do it again next week. Also, I'm going to be coming back with some other streams soon, hopefully. I think Cover 2 is going to start again. We might do Writing Jason X. There might be a Project Zomboid stream in the works. So all that stuff could be happening soon. I know that I've been away from Twitch for quite some time. I think it's been like at least 9 months. Maybe even a year since we finished. No, I don't know if it's been a year, but it's been a while. And this was fun to do, to try to get back into it. And it was fun to go through all those breakdowns. That was a lot of fucking scouting reports that we looked at. And thanks for anybody who sat through even some of that. And especially the people who sat through most of it. And here we go. We're going to raid Ellie, and I'll see you guys over there. Okay. Wait, are we there now? No. Is it still raiding? Oh, it's still raiding. Sorry. I'm just going to do it now. Okay, bye.